So I guess we'll go around the horn here. Vera, I guess we'll start with you. Like maybe talk about what kind of character you intend on playing or something like that.
Oh, I'm going to be playing either a med tech or a tech named Tiberius Sunshine. Um, Mostly going to be the kind of get in there and do things type character.
No nonsense, that kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of. It's one of the things that so that way you don't need to like diddle around for an hour trying to figure out what exactly we want to do.
Right.
Testing. Okay, it's working.
You're good. You can hear us fine though, right?
Sorry, it took a while for my setup to start
That's
working.
fine. Tramdor, he and I semi went through the character creation, so he's made a solo Frank Stone. You can see on the game side there. Jennifer can't yet because she's not in the game yet, but once she loads in, you can see all this too. And you had any particular ideas for what you want to do with Stone there, or
Mm, Not really. I haven't thought about it, really.
you made Gun Shoot Man is what you
I
made.
made Gunshoot Man.
Yeah,
I made a burner hobo.
yeah, basically. You always need a few of those at an ambulance in 2045, so it's at least two. And for the record, in case you guys aren't familiar with Cyberpunk at all, the roles or the classes, if you want to call them that, in this game, they're less like actual like classes and more like jobs in the real world that you either had or still have, that kind of thing, or a particular skill. So if you're a med tech, you're like a paramedic kind of thing, like an ambulance driver, not driver, paramedic. If you're a tech, you're like an engineer or something like that. Solos are basically the fighters of the universe, and then you get weird stuff like rocker boys, who are like bards only with handguns. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I created your ex girlfriend in this game there, Trandor, who's a rocker girl, plays bass guitar.
Which sheet is that?
That's Su Lai, Chinese girl. As you, when we do character creation, essentially there's three methods. Do you guys have the PDF in front of you at all?
Yeah, it's on my other
I do.
screen.
Right. Alright. The easiest way I found for creating a character is to start with life path, but we'll start how they recommend it first,
Just pick your role.
essentially. General idea I'd go with is maybe look at all the roles there first, and then run the life path system. We'll go over that in a second. But where is it again?
So there's 10 roles, and like on page 29, it gives like a brief description of each of them.
That's right. But before we get into that, on page 40, this is just a brief overview. There's actually three ways of creating characters in this game. If you don't feel like you want to do a whole bunch of math or anything really complicated, I can. I'll prefer was we go like with calculated, but if you don't want to go really really complicated, we'll go with a fast and dirty character. It's about on par, but won't be nearly as customizable. The idea is basically you got your set in stone characters, then you got like you're picking from a selection of options, and then you got all the options basically. That's the three tiers. So you got Street Rats, Edge Runners, complete package. Now, unless anybody has objections, we'll go with complete packages.
Sure.
And to follow that, that's on page 42, and they have a little flow chart here of what you can do. And those little numbers there, if you click those, they should bring you to the actual page there if you get lost. So, number one, we'll just pick roles. That's on page 29. And if you open up your character sheet in roll 20, we'll go over that in a second too. We set that to 4. It's always to 4 when you very first start.
Wait, what's always a force, huh?
Yeah, the character role ability. So every role has a different ability, like solos have combat awareness, or lawmen have the ability to call in backup. The amount of points they have in there is always set to 4 in the very start of play when you create a character.
And then I'm assuming, like, as you play, it'll increase or decrease?
It can increase or decrease. You get basically a series of points that you can put into your role ability, or you can put into skills and whatnot. So it's your choice.
Okay.
We'll go over that later. Anyway, who is actually not familiar? I know June's probably not used Roll20 much before, right?
I'm looking at a red screen that doesn't quite fit in my page, and it looks real ugly. I don't know what I'm looking at.
Well, if you actually, on the right side there, there's a little plus or minus. That's the zoom. You can zoom out on that. That might help a little bit.
No, there's no plus or minus. I can actually use my scroll wheel and zoom in and out, and it don't look pretty. I just don't know what to do with it. I can do a tutorial, but
Can you share your screen?
screen. Get this beautiful example of web design.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah, so you were talking about. Yeah, that's basically just a little city thing that I threw up there just as a placeholder. Anyway, don't really be concerned about that too much right now.
Just
So
close up that tutorial.
Yeah, there's no reason to tutorial. We'll go over all that later. There's the plus and minus I was talking about there. Yeah, there you go.
So we're choosing roles right now, right?
For now, but I wanted to go over briefly the Roll20 setup, just to kind of speed things along, because this program eats up a lot of CPU space, so it's best to optimize that first, I think.
Okay.
sit down.
All right, so you see the little gear in the top right there?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, you click that. That should go to your settings. What you'll want to do is make sure you're not displaying or sending anything over video or voice, because it has its own VoIP system, so it's not very good in the first place, but sometimes it also just turns on randomly, so having it turned off in the settings is a good idea. Yeah, something that might also help you just see everything is avatar size, and changing that to names only. That way, at least you can see what the hell you're looking at and won't take up most of the screen.
I don't think it's gonna be a problem on my setting.
Yeah, you got a much bigger setup than I do, so.
Yeah, I'm on ultra wide and I have 64 gigs of RAM. I think
Yep.
it'll be fine.
Yeah, you're probably fine, yeah, but it surprises you sometimes. The other thing too is 3D dice. If that's still checked, I would check it off. There's no real point behind it unless you want that extra flair. but keeping it on also lags you behind everybody else sometimes. So it's
What about advanced dice?
where's that? Dice
It's right
icon.
above.
Yeah, I would keep that enabled because that goes all in chat anyway. So
Okay.
aside from that, those are the main ones that actually put a drag on things. So I'd go back to either chat or, more importantly, the journal, which should be the little tab right next to chat on the far left at the top. And selecting that, you can see all your sheets. They should all be in your little list of character sheets there, but you can't all interact or edit them. You can at least see them though. So what I'd like you to do is select your sheet. You've already selected his and renamed it Tiberius Sunshine, so way to go. And I'm also going to do this. Very briefly as a example, if you want to bring up Trandor's character sheet, you can look around on that. Try not to write anything in there. The only way to really look at it in detail is to also be able to edit it. So I gave you permission, so just refrain from typing anything in there. But if you want to use that as like an idea of like how it kind of looks, that might be a good example.
Don't know how to access this thing you're speaking of.
Oh,
it's the second
you
tab
actually-
on under the chat log.
Not
Looks
under,
like a
but to the
newspaper.
right of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a little newspaper next to the eye. Any trolls?
Just imagine I'm seeing something cool.
Sorry? Well, while you're doing that or taking a look at things, I'm just going to explain what I also want to do. Now, aside from roles for like your character or whatever, because Trauma Team is a bit different, what I'm looking to do is set up who's going to be doing what in the team, essentially. So already somebody's like a solo, so he'd probably be a guard. At least that's what I got from Jandor, at least. And Vera, since you're going either tech or med tech, you're probably looking at either being like the main healer dude who takes care of the patient or something like that. Am I right about that?
Sure, sounds good.
All right. Like even tech would still be able to do that to some degree. Just not as well. And for you two, there's a few other slots. There's the guy who is actually in control of your flying ambulance, because in Trauma Team you all have a flying ambulance called an AV. It's essentially a giant. It's a car with like 4 vector thrusters. Essentially, it's goes 400 miles an hour. It's got almost nothing that can stop it because it's super armored.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like, what roles would be like the best at like flying?
At flying, there's a couple. There's Nomad, who would probably have the best because they have an ability called Moto that enhances their ability to drive vehicles or repair them, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But also, if you configured it right, solo could do it. Basically, any role could do it. But of all the roles, nomad would be that. And nomads are a bit different because nomads indicate that you weren't born in the city; you were born out, or you were cast out at some point and joined a roving band of Mad Max bikers, basically. But they aren't always Mad Max bikers. Some are like floating on flotillas, like Waterworld style, or they're like air pirates, that kind of thing.
Person who's going to be like flying, what's like the last position left?
Well, generally, trauma teams have pilot, co-pilot, which is usually like a gunner or a backup pilot. Then they have two med techs or two solo security guards. But if you wanted to do any other kind of role, or you have a better idea for like just having fun, like if you wanted to be a rocker boy, for instance, um, be part of like a band or something like that, we could say like, oh, you kind of forced your way into a trauma team for like a publicity stunt or something like that. Or if you wanted to be like a media, you were following this team for like a news report or something like that. It basically, I just want to get an idea of what you want to do on the team or what you'd be contributing to the team, essentially, like in a real world job setting, essentially.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's still pretty early though, so if you need some time to think of it, or until the end of the session today, then we'll set up then. Anyway, just wanted to put that out there. So, Jennifer, any problems there? You've been quiet for a bit.
I'm good. I think. I don't know.
You have your sheet up? Can you see it?
Things that are being like, yeah.
I didn't hear what you said there, sorry.
Things have been clicked. I'm not 100% sure, but maybe.
All right. You hovered over the journal, right? The one we were talking about that looks like a newspaper at the top. Should be the top right. You got it? Okay, I'll just wait for you to type. You did, yeah. You can hear us though, right? All right, that'll be good enough. In the top right there, if you hover your mouse, like there's the obvious little chat bubble there. To the direct right of that, there should be a little journal. If you hover your mouse over and just hover there for a second, it should just show up a little journal alt text there. If you select that, a series of little men should be able to show up there with a names like June's Sheet, Siberia Sunshine, Nero Sheet, Frank Stone. You should be able to see all that. Select June's Sheet. That's your character sheet that you're going to be using to build your character. And from here, a little window should pop up inside the browser. Select character sheet. And that basically brings up a big table of skills, of roles, of names, that kind of thing that you can input. Something that might help a little bit is if that little window in a window picture on the button in the top left there, if you press that, it opens up the sheet screen as a separate window. So that might be easier for you to organize things, especially with the PDF as well.
So has anyone else like picked their role like for sure?
Tramdor and Vera have. I think Vera's still debating which you're gonna go with, but
I just went with medtech. Seems like it's
Okay.
the most important one that we need to fill. So
okay,
Okay. Then I think I'm gonna go with Nomad then.
cool. Same thing, just select role from the character sheet there, and remember to set your ability to 4. We'll figure out names and everything else later.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I've done that. Okay.
Ability thing. Can you?
so when you pick your role, the middle area will just put down your primary ability.
Yeah, it will auto-populate. So yeah, if you set up Netrunner, your Netrunner role ability at the middle there, where it says Netrunner, is interface. And just ratchet up that number up to 4 to make it... there you go. Fairly simple. So we got a Nomad, a Netrunner, a Medtech, and a Solo. That's pretty well-rounded, I think. Now, FYI, Netrunner is a bit weird, so we're going to have to go over a little bit there. You're not like the guy in the chair who's running around, or letting everybody else run around while you wait in the back and tell everybody what to do. You're actually going to have to come with everybody else.
What am I if not a bit weird?
Basically, you know Johnny Mnemonic, that movie?
Nope. I don't want
Okay.
to miss what.
well, basically, the internet doesn't exist. This is actually a good opportunity just to get into the lore of the universe. Essentially, about 20 or so years back, there was a war between two corporations called Airsoc and Militech. One was Japanese, one was American. They had bases all around the world. They were super, super rich. Through a series of blunders and escalating conflicts between a subsidiary of theirs that got hired out from, they went to full-scale war against each other just for the sake of doing it. And basically, they left most of the planet completely fucked. The internet no longer exists as we know it today. Several thousand million people are dead. And
There's also no paper.
Yeah, there's also no paper. Paper's...
There was a virus that got released on the world that destroyed basically all trees.
essentially.
Johnny's an asshole. We know. Mm.
Johnny is an asshole. You technically don't know it was Johnny who did that, though. That actually comes out, I think, 40 years later.
Yeah, but Johnny's still an asshole.
Oh yeah, he's still an
Yeah.
asshole.
I mean,
You
Airsoc
just
also.
make Johnny an asshole all the time.
Yeah,
I mean,
essentially.
Airsoc is also an asshole.
Yeah,
Of course.
Pretty much
Johnny's
Corpo.
always an asshole.
Corps in general are assholes.
but generally speaking, including the one you work for, because your whole job is get the patient out, save them, no matter what the cost. If civilians get in the way, blow them away.
I mean, it was either this or tech, but come on, Netrunner. Can you resist Netrunner?
Netrunner is very attractive. I'll give you that. Yeah.
I mean, so if I wasn't going to do solo, I was probably going to do a Rocker Boy, because that sounds fun.
I mean, see,
You don't actually
when I was
have to be
5
in-
years old. I wanted to be a rock star for all of 5 minutes, and yeah,
Either that or be a lawman and just start screaming, I am the law at people.
You can actually do that.
I play too many
not unheard of.
fantasy games, so I always want to play some sort of tech character.
Yeah, I see that. The thing with Rocker Boy or any of the roles, if you really want to, you don't actually have to say that you were in a band or something like that, because Rocker Boy is more of like a general term. You could be like a politician, or
Could be
assuming there's no multi-classing in this.
there
there
actually is.
actually, yeah.
But that's new to Red, because there wasn't multi-classing.
Yeah, you were
Previous
only
ones.
a role before, but you can multi-class now.
You can be a rocker boy and like a tech dude at the same time.
Not technically at the same time. You retain some of the same skills as your last role, but once you go for another role, if you go from like fixer to solo or something like that, then you're just a solo. That's what people refer to you as. For all
Okay,
intents
I'm
and
gonna pretend I
purposes.
understood that.
It's basically how
Other people see you.
yeah.
You keep all the stuff, but if you switch from being a rocker boy to a solo, you're going to be referred to as a solo now instead of a rocker boy.
Yeah, they
Or
might
rock-
remember what you were before, but ultimately they're going to treat you like the new role that you are.
I don't know. I'm checking out how they're doing my favorite class here because did they do it dirty this time? Because
It's pretty
What-
complicated still. A lot less complicated than it used to be, but
Which class?
never.
Netrunner.
I never.
It's the one true way. Did they fuck it up? Is the question.
Well, essentially, you can hack. Yeah, don't worry about it. We didn't hear it. Essentially, you can. Here's like the very basics of it. You have a cyber deck. You have virtuality goggles, so you can see the internet with your eyeballs. Essentially, even if you didn't want to do that, you have to. In order to interface with anything, everything is like on its own like subnet instead of like a wide internet where everything's connected to everything. So if you're in like a building or something like that, you can maybe interface with like a computer that's there that's maybe connected to something else or not. Essentially, everything is wired, not wireless. Essentially, but for the sake of just being easy with things, we'll just say that you're able to wirelessly connect to things. Just because the idea that you have like a set of plugs coming out of your neck that are attached to something else that you're just kind of running around like it's you're a dog on a leash. Yeah, that's a little ridiculous.
Can you still hack people?
Yes, you can actually, but it's not technically part of the rules. The way the whole thing's set up is that every time you interface with something, it's basically like a giant elevator. So essentially, you're in like a mini dungeon, like a Munchkin dungeon. Essentially, you knock down the door of one room, you go to the next room, knock down the door to that room. There's maybe something there, maybe there isn't. It's essentially like that. But it's not. Each room you get different things depending on what it is. You can't hack somebody to the point where they kill themselves. No, you can't do that, unfortunately. But you can hack them so their implants might kill themselves.
I mean, same thing.
Not quite. The difference is that their arm doesn't reach into their pocket and strangle themselves. It's, or they don't pull a bullet into their own head. It's not like that either.
Sorry about that. That home phone is like the bane of my existence.
No, it's fine. We didn't hear it. You just went mute. You got it just in time.
Oh. Okay, that's awesome. What are we talking about?
I was just explaining that running to June because she wanted to go into that a little bit. Anyway, so basically, nuke went off, but it didn't just. The long and short of it is the nuke went off and it fucked up a lot of things, but also at the same time the internet got nuked as well. So basically, you're not going to be if you connect to like City Hall, you're not going to be able to connect to Airsoc Tower. Essentially, there's no search programs for things. There's no like Google or anything like that. There's no big tech to give you a big convenient service to connect everything to everything. Everything's on its own subnet. But yeah, but most machines, if you interface with it, you can hack it. And most machines can be interfaced with, so it should be easy for you.
And can all roles hack?
All roles can technically interface, but not in the same way Netrunner can, or as effectively. You can get like a cyber deck, and you can get virtuality goggles, but you can't use your interface role to interface with that machine. It's like the difference between doing it with your head versus doing it with your hands. Essentially, it's like a baby's toy. That scene from Back to the Future 2, where they
I
look.
believe custom viruses.
Yep, you can do that. You can create demons and whatnot, leave them in people.
You can create demons and leave them in people.
Yep. Well, I
Like
mean,
the
it's
demons are viruses.
it's not,
demons are viruses.
yes and no. Yeah. It's essentially just a program that infects other programs, infects firmware, that kind of thing.
Sounds awesome.
Now, for Nomad, just very briefly, currently, like, there's a lot of in this timeline. There's like a bunch of contention about should nomads be allowed to be in the city or not, because there's a lot of stigma around that, because nomads tend to jump convoys and civilians in those convoys, and a lot of people end up dead from those convoys getting jumped. So so there's a lot of tension about that, but also over the years, nomads have also like formed corporations that are almost on par with the big megacorps. So it's kind of runs the line. So you don't actually have to be like a Mad Max running around. You can be a representative of a family of nomads out in the desert, or you could be trying to sell your people inside the city lines. Or something
It's like
that.
the mafia.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
The difference is that you actually sometimes they actually are all related to each other because they're all an insulated group. The other aspect about nomads is that a lot of them are actually ex-military. In the previous, like, I think it's like 40 or so years. No, actually, it'd be 80 now. But in the preceding 80 years or so, there was like a series of wars going on between America and the southern continent, essentially. They invaded Mexico, Brazil, Colombia, all those countries, essentially. It's not entirely clear why they keep on saying it's for land reasons. I don't really know the reasons, but the way I figured is that it wasn't in their. They didn't like that these countries were hotbeds of cartels and whatnot, and they thought military force would end it somehow.
Wasn't the third war down there? Didn't they release a virus that basically destroyed all the cocaine? Or something?
It didn't destroy all the cocaine. It eliminated a lot of the populace there that was creating the cocaine, essentially. Cocaine still technically exists. It's still a street drug, but it goes by a different name.
And then I'm assuming there would be like other street drugs that are more like related to like the technology side of things or something like that.
Yes and no. There's ones that increase your reflexes or your intelligence, but generally speaking, it's not. It's not like Mentats that you take from Fallout. It's not that kind of thing. It's a lot more. I was about to say street, but that's not a helpful term for that. It's more of like you're taking heroin or something like that, and you just happen to get a side benefit from it.
A lot of inhalers.
Yeah. So you might take like a reflex booster or something like that makes you better at shooting people, but
Steroids? Is that how steroids work?
essentially, yeah.
It is now. Cool. I have no friends. It's unfortunate.
For those types of things, the way I did it was I would roll like some of them and then choose others. Like for because it's pretty boring if you have nobody you know, you have nobody who hates you, you have nobody you loved or anything like that. So I just kind of, if I rolled 0, I counted that as just a 1.
Right. Well, we're getting ahead of
interesting.
June here, so let's explain that real quick. What they're talking about is the life path system. If you're on page 42 of the PDF still, that's on the second slide here. So that's page 43. Oh, I technically changed page 45, but essentially to either help you get ideas of what your character is, like who they are as a person, or like where they come from, they have a series of tables you can roll on, and like figure out like where they are. Now, it doesn't matter if you speak English or not. Everybody speaks the same slang, so everybody generally understands each other, whether or not they're from Africa or they're from Russia, that kind of thing.
Are we having the implants that like translate for us as well, or?
We'll say that's pretty basic. Yeah,
Okay.
everybody has, and
'Cause-
especially it just makes it convenient for everybody.
Yeah, because I mean, even if someone's speaking Japanese, like we have the implants that.
Japanese,
Translates it.
Japanese is
Translates
so
it.
so
But
common.
I was just using that as an example. Like, you know,
Oh,
like
yeah.
if somebody were speaking a language that you don't speak and you don't understand, then the implant will just translate it for you.
Yeah, but it'll be a rough translation. We'll say that you get the gist of what they said, maybe not all the words of it. In any case, so basically, the rules for this is that you either roll or you can choose. But the way I like to do it is that you roll on some, choose on some. That's your choice. But if you don't like any of the options on these tables, just let me know, and basically we'll just work something else out. Like if you wanted to be from, I don't know, Malaysia or something. Or if you wanted to say that your cultural origins was from Russia, but your parents were Swahili or something, like for some reason. Basically, most of the time, cultural origins determines what language you know just naturally as like your first language, growing up. But it's not entirely set in stone because everybody's from everywhere else at all times in this universe. So. For the most part, life path, the further you go down it, it's mainly there as like it's like basically you're setting up pillars to build a foundation from, essentially, for characters. So if you got like don't have any idea for what a character would be or what they would do, this might give you an idea of something there. And when you get to rolling, whether or not you have friends, or if you have like a family drama, or if you have ex-lovers or something like that, just let me know. I'm gonna roll extra characters like fast and dirty with the template system for that, for each of you in case you get any. And that may or may not come up, but I don't know. That might be fun. Now on the character sheet for life path, there's a little tab at the top there. You can select life path. It'll fill it all out for you in case you haven't already.
One of these things isn't even on here. Really?
Which is?
Affection you are never without?
Yeah, they don't have that on the list there. What I would put that under is like your fashion and like maybe parentheses, that kind of thing. It's more of
Wait,
like
what is it?
affection you're not without, like spike gloves or like a hair ribbon, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
I picked Mirror Shades because it's
always pick mirror shades.
always
and
have
then
to
go
pick
with
Mirror Shades.
and then buy more mirror shades.
Exactly.
Apparently, it's fingerless gloves.
It's the Final Fantasy VII version with Reno. You know, break his sunglasses, toss them aside, reaches into his pocket and pulls out another pair.
Of course.
Recommendations and relationships, is that on here at all?
Yeah, it should be. It's should be on the next page over actually, or the next couple.
Next page over. What?
They're not in order.
Yeah.
God, you're really trying to make me work here.
I mean, if you want, I could roll for you from it, but I'm sure it's faster or more convenient for you.
Who are my other clients here as a med tech?
For med tech, that could be anybody on the street. It could be another corporation that maybe you do contract work for, that kind of thing. Or it could be that you work in Trauma Teen Tower for clients outside of your teamwork.
Oh,
Or,
is this just our background portion?
Essentially, yeah.
Okay, now who we're working for now. Got it.
Essentially. Or is this
not a team player, by the way.
Sorry?
Just so you know. My character's not a team player, just so you guys know.
That's fine. Everybody's on their own anyway. Individualism ahoy in this universe.
I feel like this role does not match what I just rolled.
You don't have to roll if you don't want to. If you feel like it doesn't match, you can go back and change any of it if you feel like it.
Just rolled. What do you value most? Power. How do you feel about most people? People are untrustworthy. Don't depend on anyone. Most valued person? Teacher or mentor?
Yeah, maybe pick one of those instead of.
Not match together. One of these things does not.
Remember, you can always choose, or if you don't feel like any of them fit, you can just mention it to me, and we'll figure something else out.
These things did not.
No, I didn't mention it yet, but the thing that's new in this system is that in the old system, basically, you would go through this life path every single time you aged a single year. So if you're like aged 25 or something like that, you went through it like every year. I think it was like, correct me if I'm wrong, Trandor, it was like...
I think it was up to 7 years.
Yeah, it was up to 7 years from age like either 16 or 18, I forget.
Yeah.
But essentially, you go through every single year, and it would roll, hey, you got scurvy or something like that. Short of dying of dysentery, like pretty much anything can happen to you.
Although you can die in character creation, unlike I forget what the game was, but there's a game. Yeah, you could die during your character creation to get better stuff, but it was pretty funny.
It's a very funny system, but this is a lot more streamlined. The thing that they changed, essentially, is that every role has their own life path, just to further like the framework of what your character might be, or you have an idea, that kind of thing. And it should be on the following pages after life path is over, once you get to life goals. For example, though, Trimdora, you haven't selected your life goals yet, so if you don't mind either rolling or selecting that.
I'll do that.
I haven't selected my life goals either. Where is that?
It should be on page 53. But at what part are you on there? It should all flow together eventually. It's right after
Um,
like friends, enemies.
I'm looking at how do you feel about most people.
Okay, you're a little further away, so just keep on plugging through that. You should get to friends, then tragic love affairs would be the last one for life goals.
Okay. Thank you.
Hunt down those responsible. So who would that be, you think?
I don't know. At this point, I just rolled that one.
Maybe it's your Gary from Pokemon that you.
Yeah, the childhood enemy.
Yeah.
So are we getting 62 stat points?
Yep, that should be standard for calculated.
Yeah.
Just ignore that for now, you guys. That he's a little ahead of you.
I may have finished my that part, the life
What's
goal
the
part.
rules on pets? Since I know that those are not common.
What's the rules on what?
Pets, since I know that those are not common.
They're not common because they're prohibitively expensive. Basically, and you might be happy about this. The last bird in America died I think 10 years ago.
Wow.
It's okay, I don't want a bird.
Yeah. Basically,
But-
any pet that's organic or whatever is either prohibitively expensive, upwards of millions of dollars. The best facsimile you're gonna get are robotic ones out there, but there's no rules in the core rule book about what they are. So we'd have to work that out ourselves in order to figure that.
They're an option and most valued person, so that's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
I mean, cats are still around.
Yep.
But
Cats.
that's it. That's about it.
Cats are like cockroaches. They're only smart.
I think there's also dogs, but they're usually cloned or.
Yeah, dogs were big enough that in the last few plagues that hit America, they've basically all died out, especially the small ones. But we're keeping them alive just for the sake of, man's best friend and all that.
If we're keeping the game that must not be named and you're trying to smuggle an iguana in, so.
A real iguana too.
Yeah.
100% real great iguana, man.
What is the average stat in this game?
The average should be around 4 or so.
Because the max you can get a character creation is
Is an
8.
yeah.
So the average would be 4 character
So
creation.
an average person would be a 4 in a stat.
Yeah, minimum would be 2 though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Just trying to figure out.
So what's the most common animal in the game? What do people eat? Mostly vegetables or meat or what?
Oh, they
Same.
eat bugs,
They eat
mostly.
fake meat.
essentially. If you ever saw Blade Runner 2049, they eat that mostly.
They also eat a lot of synthetic meat.
Yeah.
Only
Clones,
the, only the super powerful can afford to eat a real steak.
Okay.
people. They
That
probably
would be
do eat people. Considering how many people die every week, it's
Yeah.
There's a stat for how cool you are.
Yep. Cool isn't really how cool you are in terms of
It's
"Oh,
how-
that guy's really cool.
How much you can keep your cool.
Basically. So basically, if a bullet whizzes by your head, if you have really high cool, it just doesn't even phase you. It's the your ability to not look at explosions and walk away from them.
That's what it
which
says
is
is
cool,
willpower,
but
right? Because
yeah,
cool says your ability to impress and influence people through your character and charisma, and
it's also
willpower is
that
your
as well.
determination and ability to face danger and/or stress.
It's that too, but it's also the same thing. They're a little vague on that sometimes, but it's generally what they're talking about. Looking cool is part of cool, but it's also your ability to keep cool under pressure, essentially.
Just dump everything down to 2, and then just put your luck at as high as possible.
I mean, you can do that, yeah.
Oh, it maxes 8. I'd just like to see someone with like a 37 luck.
I think 10 is the highest.
10 is the very highest you can get in a single stat.
You're
I mean,
the
there's
DM,
so
you
many
can tell us what to
skills you're
do.
going to be spending most of your stuff on there anyway.
Wait, where's life goals? What?
55.
Okay, it's way down.
Yeah, it's not in
I
order.
missed
Just...
that.
Or 53, rather, sorry. Yeah, the arrows on the PDF, they hide themselves pretty easily because they're not bolded out like everything else should be, probably.
Roll 1d10 and subtract 7 to see how many friends you've made. What?
Now, you can do that, or you can just select a number between 1 and 3. Or you can have...
I rolled a 7, so I was like minimum 0.
So that would be 0, yeah.
I
Now
have
you
0 friends. It's okay.
You can select that, or you can, if you want, you can have 1 or 2 or something like that.
See, but that means you have no friends and no enemies. But if I, like me, I rolled a 1, that means I have 6 enemies.
Hey. People are obstacles to be destroyed if they cross me. That would explain so much.
I mean, it would, yeah.
I wonder how many enemies I write. Oh, God.
Did you give it 10?
10 for enemies.
There you go.
Oh, roll that up, babe.
I think I have my stats how I want them. And I probably want 1 more point of tech.
And one of my enemies would be my ex-lover. Wow. Ex-lover and a corporate exec? Well, where did the corporate exec get into this?
Maybe that's their new lover.
Lord. What kind of telenovela what did I step into here?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing about Life Path. If you go random, then it gets really random.
Mm-hmm.
But over time, as you go, you get kind of like an idea of like maybe how everything could fit.
Wait, I would have to do 3, so who would be the third? A person working for me.
Yourself.
Your own.
I hate everyone, including myself.
Yeah, because people are
You
are
are
not to
your
be
own
trusted,
worst
so
enemy.
it would be me. Who's working?
The only way I'd maybe go with that is if you have like a split personality or something like that, like Dr. Jekyll or something.
My cat is the one.
Your cat. Oh, it sounds like we're creating a schizoid now. That's awful.
I programmed a daemon, and suddenly,
We could say that maybe you got like an AI that's like gradually like becoming malevolent or something like that, or resenting you because it's stuck in your firmware. There's plenty of
we've
like.
got basically a soap opera in the net, just like forming.
So you roll a 1d10 and then you divide that number by 2.
Yeah, so close friends of theirs, essentially.
Oh, then I have to roll another d10. Okay.
No, just determine how many mooks they got on call.
I rolled a d6. Divided by 2. So, 3 friends?
Yeah, you can count on 3 people to fuck you up if they want. They gotta catch you first, though.
Them and 3 friends. I roll just themselves. And they won't even go out of their way to do it.
So it's mostly just they don't like you and they're like, tomorrow.
So if I see you around, I'll do something.
Why I oughta? It's the equivalent of bang zoom straight to the moon and then nothing ever happening.
I'm gonna take note of this and then decide if I want to do this. So, first we had an ex-lover.
What I like about this system is that it doesn't always work, but it always seems to, which is better than what I can say for a few other systems out there.
Okay. Ex-lover, romantic rival, themselves, and 3 friends. Let's see what happens with the next one.
Cool.
Another ex-lover. Shit.
Oh, you get around, dude.
Oh, I'm really getting around.
I got an
Another
entire
romantic
city or
rival.
government or agency.
Oh,
But you
shit.
got a whole government.
Oh, shit.
I got an entire city or government agency.
Oh no!
We are both fugitives from the law.
Wow. Okay, that could mean a few things there. I'll let your imagination run wild. Just let me know if you have like a good idea for it.
Don't let that entire city be Night City because
We live there.
you walk outside
oh, Lord,
and you
am I
get.
gonna get another ex-lover? Yes. Okay, we're really getting around. You just don't
I
like
thought
each
you were
other.
talking about lovers. It's like, how do you have a government agency as a lover? I'm not.
We
asking
just
questions.
don't like each other. It's not a romantic rival this time. We just plain don't like each other.
It was all sex, and that's all it was.
Yeah, we just plain don't like
And
each
they-
other.
And maybe one or two of them just wasn't able to accept that.
I guess.
Okay. And it's just themselves. All right.
No, the one,
Let's hope they're not that threatening.
Well, thank God it's not a whole other country that's gonna.
Yo, who knows? Who knows?
The government of China comes down on you because you spurned the CEO of Kangtao or something.
Remember, I have no friends.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no one coming to me.
Yeah. The best that's going to happen is that if they come down on you while you're on the job, the rest of the team might have an interest in keeping you alive because they're probably going to get shot too.
Just stay on the job 24/7.
Yeah.
Solved.
I'm called
You know,
24/7.
this is under enemies too, and I feel like it should be under tragic love affairs. Like, all of these are tragic love affairs.
Are cults still a thing in this game? Like religion?
Oh yeah, definitely. There's a few gangs that are just straight up cults.
Enemies.
Yeah.
Who are they? Ex-lovers. All of them are ex-lovers.
I got,
This is
for
tragic
Family
love
Crisis,
affairs.
my family was involved in a long-term conspiracy organization or association. And
Yeah,
I
that
was
could-
thinking that they probably just got involved with a cult and kind of went in too deep and lost all their money.
Yeah, I mean that can work. It was like a maybe like it was like a multi-level marketing scheme, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that also includes like gangs, low-level nomad families, that kind of thing.
Oh, my character's from one of those corporate skyscrapers, so
I don't know
Ah.
why it says
so this would
what's gonna
be
happen.
something like more on the up and up, but like still like when you think about it, it's just a cult that they got into.
Oh, there's another roll 1d10 after that. That's the what's gonna happen. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. That
Yep.
makes sense.
That's either what you plan on doing, what you have already done, or anything like that.
Can I just clear this roll dice thing? Let's just clear this because I'm getting a lot of roll dice. Okay. I can.
Yeah, you can definitely do that. It's makes it easier. But it's per your own screen too, so it doesn't affect anybody else.
9, 10.
It's
8.
asking me about like, well, not asking me, but I'm at like the pack size part, and I don't see what it is on roll 20.
I can set them up for a crime or other transaction they didn't commit. That's a good one. I can set out to murder or maim them.
Yeah, you can just
Alright.
straight up kill them. The thing you're looking for there, Nero, is at the very top. Actually, there's no
And I can
specific.
just verbally attack them. That's
There's no specific line thing there because like there's 10 different roles and it would just take up all the page if they did it that way. So,
Just put in the life path place.
yeah, no
Yes.
end life path at the very top.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Makes sense.
At least
I just
I
did-
roll to murder or maim the one who has a government agency, at least.
I mean,
At least
That'd be
I got
great
the
if it
good
was
one
just-
for the
If you just avoided them, you're just like, I'm just not gonna avoid them.
Yeah. I got to verbally attack the one who just didn't like me. I was like, whatever.
They just don't like.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, not important.
sweet revenge.
What about my tragic love affairs? You don't mean I don't have enough of already?
Well, we'll say that you roll 3 times on those, and we'll go the reason why they're tragic love affairs, essentially.
It'd be basically like, why do you have tragic love affairs? Like, basically because my character doesn't like people. 1d10. Am I gonna roll a d10 again?
You don't have to roll a d10. For this, I would actually look at all the options and maybe select the ones that you think are appropriate.
I rolled a d2.
So you flip the coin, basically.
I didn't even know there was a D2. What is
I
fudge?
mean, yeah, it's just basically like subtract 7, minimum 0. So it's just like how many tragic love affairs you've had. 0. I mean, like, that's not true. I just had 3.
By
If
default,
I
we'll
just did 2, it would be like your lover mysteriously vanished. Just like, did I kill him? Did I murder him?
maybe they vanished to get their revenge on you.
Bum, bum, bum.
That's the thing with all these. They're vague enough that even if like we're going the route where you're a heartless bastard who has sex only for sex and everybody gets really upset with you for it, even that you can still kind of justify a few things like one of them went psycho or something like that, or
Honestly, I was
vanished.
like, your lover went insane or cyber psycho. I was like, did I do it?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
feel like
right?
I did it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but that's the thing I'm talking about, though. Everything kind of fits. It's vague enough that you can kind of see what might be a connecting dot there, and I like that.
All right. I have an enemy, I have a friend. And my tragic love affair is dead, who used to be my partner as a med tech.
I'm just gonna say they mysteriously vanished. Sure.
Oh, that's never good. That means they're gonna
I
come
think
up
that's-
sometime.
that could never end well.
Oh no, your
Is
tragic
that-
backstory is
is that
gonna
the
come back to
enemy?
haunt you.
I mean, I
Is
am
that the
rolling
enemy
these
with the
characters, and I'll
government?
figure it out then. But yeah,
Okay, what's this life goal here? Oh lord.
What's your goal in life?
they could be short term, long
Get what's
term.
rightfully yours.
Sure, I will keep that roll. Sounds just like the rest of what I roll.
I was joking when I was making my character, like rolling for like the family crisis would be good because otherwise, a lot of the times I find that in Cyberpunk people make the edgy character where my character's family all died, were murdered by this corporation and I'm out seeking revenge.
The most
And right-
important corporation.
And right as I said that, I rolled and it says your family was killed and you were the only survivor. I was like, oh jeez, I'm the edgy one.
You know, I had a feeling when you did that. It was we were in voice at the time, but I had a feeling you were trying to avoid that. And then when you got it, I was like,
Honestly, I chose Netrunner because I feel like that's the true way. And then I was like, I want to be North American Navajo. I was like, cool. Then I was just like, I don't know what I want to do, so I'm just gonna roll. And it rolled intellectual and detached. I was like, okay. Then it rolled general chic, and I was like, okay. And it was like wild color hairstyle. I was like, where are we going with this? And it's like, what do you value most? Power. People are obstacles to be destroyed if they cross me. And I was like, what? And
Yeah.
then it was like, then it was family background, edge runners, drift nation. Your family was killed and you were the only survivor. You're gonna get what's rightfully yours. Your lovers mysteriously vanished. And I was like, oh god.
yeah, I know, right?
The
It
edge.
just was so thematic, and I was like, she's a
Yeah.
fucking edgelord who hates people.
I'm like-
and it's
I'm
like,
like getting,
all of your enemies are your ex-lovers who want you dead. And I was
I'm getting
like,
paper cuts over here from the amount of edge from that character.
Jesus.
I was like, so I'm getting a theme
Yeah,
that completely fits this whole intellectual and detached.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
fits the edge runner that I mean the net runner.
Now,
like the
if
intellectual
you-
and detached
yeah.
fits.
Now, if you
So-
did want to change any of that, it should still be fairly easily. But honestly, you kind of hit the jackpot on it being an edgelord right now.
I mean,
So are you going to be wearing a
It gives
trench
me
coat with
something
about like
warming here.
7 belts and have a katana sitting in the
I'm
dark
a
corner of the
netrunner
room?
who wears very chic
Fedora.
clothing in wild hair colors. And all of her exes hate her guts and want her dead. But my response to this is, I'll murder you if you come at me. So,
Jesus Christ. Sounds like my exes.
yeah.
so I'm set.
My clothing style was urban flash, and then the neat and short hair.
See, I was a little annoyed when I saw General Chic because I was like, that's a little boring. And then it said, you always wear fingerless gloves. I was like, you know what? That kind of fits with net running.
I got Urban Flash, and I just picked Bald because of the
Maybe
token.
you wear general chic just to blend in your surroundings. You don't stand out. But the fingers gloves, maybe.
Yeah,
that-
you
that's
can't
your
type
edge
with
showing.
regular gloves. So.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't type with regular gloves, and also that's your edge showing.
And I have no friends, which fits with my general bitch feeling. I only like power, and people are obstacles to be destroyed. All of my exes hate me, probably because, I don't like people.
I just noticed there's nothing here for the what are you affection you're never without.
Yeah, there's no thing in there. So honestly, I just put that in fashion in parentheses.
Yeah.
It just makes the most sense to put it there.
Wasn't that
In the
your...
whole intellectual and detached, it's like, I feel like, I was like, maybe I'll try something other than Netrunner. I was like, you know what? Intellectual fits with Netrunner. Detached also fits with Netrunner. I feel like I'm locked in with this now.
Speaking of fitting with Netrunner, though, your roll life path is on page 56. So you may want to roll that as well. They use D6s on these usually.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Life
And
goals. Get what's rightfully yours. How did all of these roles randomly just suddenly like almost match?
I don't know, man. It's magic.
Power of the cosmos.
I
It
literally
just
just
seems to
went,
happen. I don't know why.
I'm literally just rolling randomly, and it's just like, yeah, no.
Yeah. You'll never see me without my mirror shades.
It is honestly uncanny just how well everything
Perfect.
fits. In
Mirror
this
shade
game.
bros.
Yeah, okay, so I'm skipping Rocker Boy and Solo, so we're on 56 now, so.
Yep. You actually have 2 pages of life path here, so you got 56 and 57 for your Netrunner life
Okay,
path.
what kind of runner are you? It says roll 1d6, so what am I rolling for?
Or choose one.
Well, we're gonna see what the random rolls do, because they've been so good.
Yeah, let's do it.
I rolled a d6. Hack for media, politico, or lawman who hires you as needed.
Oh, you're a mercenary for for some like group or like you're basically like you're like the hacker friend that some investigator comes to for shit.
Interesting. We'll think on that. Let's keep rolling and see what happens.
Yeah.
What's your workspace like? Roll a d6. D3.
So
It's
you're
a
working
filthy
alone?
bed covered in wires. You are a messy bitch, alright?
So you're working alone?
Yeah, I think we kind of assume working alone.
I don't think she likes people. Rolling another.
Secret partner who might be a rogue AI.
Rolled a
Might.
d3. Possible romantic partner as well. Really?
Another
Really?
one.
She's going through that again.
No, that's how she gets partners, right? Like for jobs.
Oh yeah, she just goes through them and burns them. That's
like a chip that she goes through her skull.
who is the unfortunate romantic partner? Are they on the team?
I mean, if you guys actually want to, you can say that you did, but I mean, I did make 2 more characters.
Who's her next enemy that's about to form? Secret partner might be a rogue AI. Might. Oh, that actually might be fun too.
Yeah, that fits honestly with what you were talking about too. Like as maybe one of your. No, we were talking about earlier, but yeah, that works. I think.
Honestly, what's her workspace? So, filthy bed covered in wires. That's the one I rolled. Corporate modular utilitarian. That does not fit. Minimalist, clean, organized. Also doesn't fit. It's taken over your entire living space.
Wires everywhere.
It looks better in virtuality, we swear.
That also fits. But that also, filthy bed covered in wires, would also look better in virtuality, you swear. Those 2 things, similar. There are screens everywhere. So basically,
it's the difference
1, 2,
of
and 3 are all pretty similar.
They're all pretty similar, but it's the difference between you don't get out of bed usually, and that's all you ever go to. You go home, you just get in bed, and you don't touch anything else. So everything else is still clean technically.
And
Versus using the space.
and who you work for? All of them don't sound that interesting to me. So whatever I did, whatever.
Work for yourself.
I like to crack systems just for the fun of it. Is probably what I would have done just to pick one because I'm like, no matter what, it's like you're kind of just like you're being a whore for someone.
I mean, that's Cyberpunk for you. It's
You're being a whore for someone. That's what you're doing. Where does this go into? Netrunner Life Path, is that where it goes under?
yeah, it goes under Netrunner Life Path at the very top. There's no real space for it. Just separated by commas, maybe.
So.
Now, don't forget, it also goes to the next page there if you haven't already.
Yeah, I'll check out the next page after I figure this one out.
Now, to be
I'm
clear,
gonna switch to the Rogue AI because that sounds more interesting.
okay. But I was gonna ask, your character is Navajo, or they just speak Navajo or grew up around Navajo? Just to clarify that.
I was gonna go with both,
Oh, okay.
unless you have any objections to that.
No, no, I have no objection. I just want to be clear on what you're looking at. Because if that was the case, maybe you want to go with a native name, or you want to go with a.
I haven't chosen a name for them.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I'm thinking ahead a little bit.
Who are some of your other clients? Let's just keep rolling, see what happens. 4 local solos or other combat types who like to. That doesn't match.
And they might come to you sometimes,
They
but
might.
you can refer to them to maybe other runners that you know.
Where do you get your programs? A local fixer supplies programs in exchange for hack work? Maybe. Who's gunning for you? My exes.
If you want to
The
say your
exes
exes,
that also hate you.
yeah.
Think it might be a rogue AI or GhostNet. Either way, it's bad news. That fits.
Now here's the question I do actually want to ask, and I just thought of it right now.
Uh-huh.
Is your character aware of why they hate you so much, or is this a deliberate thing?
What, the rogue AI or the exes?
The exes are they this so up their own butt that they don't understand what?
I'd like
why
to
they're
think
upset?
that my character thinks that their asshole smells like daisies. I'd like to think that.
Oh boy. By the way, how are you doing there, Nira?
I'm looking at the buying skills stuff right now.
Okay. You got any trouble? Just let me know.
Thank you. I think I'm okay.
Cool.
Let me actually read my options, because I didn't actually read my options. I just rolled.
Yeah, that might be a good idea.
Yeah, rolling's funnier.
Where do you get your programs?
Skills.
Digging around alt city zones? That sounds dirty, and no. Steal them from other net runners you brain burn? Hell yeah, that sounds sexy. Corporate execs supply them with programs in exchange for your services. What kind of services am I providing?
Brain burning someone, hacking someone else, infiltrating a
Services?
place, that kind of thing. You could be hired out to like interface with a place's electrical current and knock out their electrical stuff for another solo team to go in, just go blasting or something like that. The options are endless, honestly.
I'm really between brain burning people and quote unquote services.
Now, do keep in mind you got hired for trauma team here, so maybe think of a reason that they would want to hire you for as well.
Are some of my skills supposed to already have points in them?
Yeah, all of your basic ones, the ones that are
Okay.
in bold or have the little asterisks next to them, those are supposed to start at 2, so they
Okay.
just pre-populate those. The only exceptions are your home, like Night City, like Chicago, wherever you were born or whatever. Those aren't populated, as well as language. You get an automatic 2 in language and
Yeah.
4 in your native tongue.
Okay, to be quite honest, trauma team is brutal.
Oh yeah,
When
very
a
brutal.
trauma team appreciated a brain burn,
Yeah, they might.
Okay.
I mean, there are times when like maybe somebody got hacked, and the best way to save a patient is to unhack them, basically. So you could be valued for to the team that way.
Cause
How many skill points
trauma
do we have
team
again?
will fuck you up.
It said something like 84 or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but,
also keep in
Eighty-
mind you have to
86.
minus the 2 from those 10 stats, so it's minus 10 already.
Okay, thanks.
Clients, doppelgangers who also protect your work area while you
Well, actually, it'd be minus 20 because it's 2 per stat. Never mind.
Okay, so 66.
The only one that you don't subtract for is for your language.
Yep, that's automatic.
Oops.
Mm,
So I should have just a base language then at 2.
Yeah, that's
then-
street slang for everybody.
Okay.
And then at 4, you have your cultural.
Yeah, I have French.
Exactly. For you, June, I selected Navajo and set that as 4 just so you can see that when you get to it.
sorry, what was that?
I selected your and populated your skill for Navajo as your language there just so you can see how it's added there.
Okay. All right.
Don't worry about it yet
so
until you
for
get to
who are
it.
some of your other clients? Can we just put that? Okay. The way this is written, wouldn't this one make more sense to maybe put a trauma team, considering the story that we're doing?
Yeah, I mean that can make sense as well, but at the same time, this could be like in your off hours just to make some extra money because living in this world is hella expensive. So
Sure.
you could be like behind on your bills and you need more jobs, that kind of thing.
Then I guess in that case, the most sense other than that would be solos. I was just thinking because the way it's worded, it just sounds like the other clients are just people who like need some type of protection. So whatever, we'll just do solos.
At the same time here as well, like if you want, or if anybody else finds the idea palatable, you guys can also like plug each other into each other's life paths, like you knew each other or are related to each other like through work or something like that, outside of the whole charm team thing.
Just don't be my ex, or else you're gonna get paid.
Tiberius Sunshine brings the whole net on top of your head.
Is Night City in?
Is Night City what?
What continent is it?
Oh,
It's
North
it's
America.
basically LA.
It's basically LA. It's a little north of LA, but yeah.
Yeah, because LA's gone. LA is a nuclear hole.
Essentially. I mean, like a nuclear bomb didn't go off there, but it's essentially a radioactive pit. No one lives there anymore.
Well, yeah, people live there. They just don't live long.
No.
Go back to page 40.
So Adrenals get 86 skills, and 13 of them have to be at least level 2.
Thought it was 40. Oh, 40 isn't actually 40. There we go.
So we actually
For
just
you,
get
it's
60 skill
42.
points.
Remember, it's full package that we're going with.
Okay, life path. Then it's statistics.
Yeah. So if you want to understand what statistics are, there's the page 72. But if you just want to go straight into buying them, there's page 78.
And you have what, 62 or something?
Yeah, and that's what they were talking about earlier. You get a total of 62. If you spread around all 10 of your stats, you can get an average of 6 in all of them. But you're probably not going to want to do that.
Fuck
You're gonna wanna
averages.
look at- Exactly.
Who wants to be average?
Either rise high or
builds
you're
are
dead.
my specialty, man.
So for the skills, you can only
Plus,
pick certain skills.
according to my
She's on
build
attributes
here,
first.
I am intellectual and detached, so I better be bright.
Better be. Anyway, what was your question there, though?
To determine your Adrenal skills, Just find your role, then divide your 86 skill points between them.
Yeah. I mean, where were you getting that? Is that...
Oh, I was just looking at the skills at how to calculate them. The Edge Runner.
Oh,
this is
yeah,
Edge
yeah.
Runner skills. Never mind.
Yeah, we're going complete
Yeah, here it
package.
is.
If you go with
So-
Edge Runner and mix that up, it starts breaking down pretty easily.
First off, what's the lowest the skill can be?
The lowest is 2.
2. So first,
Highest is
everything
6.
at 2.
Well, and for attributes, it's 8, but the lowest is still 2.
Oh.
Well, the lowest you can have is 0, right? Just have no points into a skill.
Wait, okay. Are some of these even attributes? I don't think move and EMP is a attribute.
Those are
Yeah, they are.
attributes.
They
Oh,
are,
yeah?
yes.
Empathy and movement.
Okay, so all of these need to be at 2 first.
All right. Just to give you a good quick breakdown, intelligence, pretty easy. That's how smart you are. It doesn't always mean your ability to hack or whatever, but it helps a little bit. Reflex, that's how good you are at reacting to stuff, usually shooting stuff. Dexterity, that's how nimble you are, like acrobatics, that kind of thing.
So the way I did it was I
So
put
there's
2
20 points, period, that are just automatically going to be so.
No. You're looking at attributes. Attributes are different. Skills are
That's on
after
your
that.
character page on the character sheet
Yeah.
there.
So
that's
for
the
your
very first
attributes,
tab.
the easiest way is pick 2 skills at 7, put the rest of them at 6, and if you want to add a skill point to any of them afterwards, take out a skill point from one.
I mean, it's probably easier to math it out that way, yeah, or visualize it. But,
Yeah.
I mean, starting at 2 is a good way as well.
Yeah.
So that's 2 times 10, 20, so you got 42 left.
Okay, let me look here. Stats. All right.
Now, keep in mind, tech is also being able to medically heal people as well as do machine things, or your familiarity with them. So that might want to be high as well.
I have a 7 tech.
Yep. And empathy, the very last one there. That's basically determines how much cyberware you can implant into yourself. That's the most simple way of going about it, but that's pretty much what it does. And once you get to 0, or I forget what the threshold is, I didn't look at it too closely yet, but once you get too low, you basically go full psycho and start slicing people up.
Oh yeah, I read about that. Cyber psychosis.
Cyberpsychosis.
Yeah.
Become more sheen than man, twisted and evil.
So,
One of my exes went cyber psychotic.
all right. So let me try to figure this out.
There's so many skills.
There's a lot of them.
So stats. How many stat points do you have? I'm very like. Can they just have this very simply?
You get 62 skill stat points.
Cool.
Yeah, it's on page 78 of the PDF.
Yeah.
Thank you, because I'm looking at a bunch of numbers and not like one description here on this thing. Like, can you just list it out for me?
Page 72 is a description of each thing, but it's not going to list out what the actual thing is.
Method to build the characters, to buy the stats. That's what I need to know. All right. The only limit is that no stat may be higher than 8 or lower than 2. Thank you.
Sorry to interrupt, but I have to head out in like 10 minutes.
Okay, that's fine. The only thing I'd like to ask you real quick is, for your nomad that you created, is there any particular direction you wanted to have those characters that you also are friends with or whatever? I haven't looked too close at yours because I'm working with June, but is there any particular direction you want me to go with creating those characters as well, or?
Yeah, I think for my character, I think I'm gonna go in the direction of like someone who's trying to like break away from like their family, which kind of runs as like an organized crime, I guess, from their nomad family. So
Okay.
those people can like be from that family, I guess.
Okay, that works. And of course, you don't have to go through it today, but if you guys could make up a name and token for your character, that would be appreciated. Eventually.
I'll do that today.
Okay.
I linked a token stamp.
It's very useful.
It is. I still use it on like a weekly basis. I feel like my character would not have 5 cool. I think he'd have 4.
He's not cool enough for it?
No, he used to be a corporate slave, so.
No,
I feel
that's
like
definitely
my character
cool.
will not have empathy if we're following her.
Well, she's gonna need a little bit of empathy just because she's gonna have to implant like a neural link to hack things in the first place there. So you're gonna want to give her at least a little bit.
How much empathy does she need to be a netrunner?
I'd say 4 probably.
I'd say at the very minimum 4.
I mean, I plan on getting a lot of cybernetics. I put in 8 in empathy. I got basically 4 cybernetics out of 54 out of
I
80.
thought they had reduced the whole cyber psychosis effects with Cyberpunk Red, but I don't know.
Yes and no. You have to get basically all to 0 in order to go crazy.
Oh. I have 6 cybernetics, so the 2 base eyes and then.
Wait, what's the maximum number we can put into like dexterity, tech, reflexes,
The
stuff
max
like
is
that?
8.
Okay.
But as for cyberpsychosis, it's a little bit more vague, but essentially, if you get to 0 humanity, then basically you just lose control of your character completely, and then just go nuts.
I think there are ways to get back humanity.
Yeah, there are. You have to go through therapy, but
Oh, excuse me. A library search.
It's expensive.
it is.
Gambling is a education skill.
I mean, how else are you going to count those cards?
Duh. You just keep buying
Yeah,
it until you win.
All of the education skills are under int. So, that's why. Can't be a dumb gambler.
I want.
Unless you
can't-
get real lucky.
You can be, but you'd also be a poor gambler.
Yeah.
Unless you get real lucky like I just did and got a 21.
Jesus. Yeah, you did. Holy shit.
I have an int of 3 and a gamble of 0. Crit fail, but I ignore failures.
Yeah, that's the irony
I'm
about
shooting.
solo with your avoid fumbles that you can brute force your way through most things.
Well, it's only attack rolls.
Yeah.
So.
So
I want a melee weapon to be just a set of shock gloves. Is that a thing that I can have?
Not technically, but we can call it that.
yeah, it'd be because
They broke down weapons to very basic types so far. They haven't given any real specific names for things. They just gave like example names.
Oh, like heavy
those
SMG.
would
shotgun.
probably be like a light melee weapon, honestly.
Yeah. So basically, if you wanted to have shock gloves, yeah, I would call it a lightweight, light melee weapon. If you wanted to call it something else, you'd have to just find some way to justify that. Like baseball bat or something else would be like if it's made of metal, a heavy melee
I wish
weapon,
there
or
wasn't.
Oh, okay. So here,
okay, or if it's like hollow, a medium weapon, that kind of thing.
a sword.
I wish this thing told me how many points I was using, so I know if I was like having too many.
Yeah, it's a little rudimentary, but it should work. If you have a calculator, you can just add it all up, and I can check for you if you need to.
Because now I'm like, shit, like,
And that's what I did. I did the opposite, where I just took the number of points that I had total, and every time I would throw points into something, I would just subtract from it.
Mm-hmm.
That way I knew exactly how many points I had. But I also got to go because dinner's ready.
Yeah, go ahead. If you guys need to go, go ahead. I pretty much went over everything I wanted to today, so.
All right. It was nice meeting all of you, by the way.
Yeah,
Yep.
nice to meet you too.
Peace out. Have a good night.
Good night.
Handgun
So
interrogation.
we have 4 points left.
So is skill with melee weapon just all melee weapons then?
Yep, all melee weapons, basically.
Okay. Well, then I will have 5 points in that. 3 more points in brawling.
The main difference between different melee weapons is whether or not you can conceal them or not.
So what's most important for a netrunner?
Tech and
That-
intelligence probably.
Tech, intelligence, maybe willpower, and cool. That's what I would say, at least. You may want a little bit of, and also empathy, I think, but you already got empathy pretty much where you probably should. Because you are gonna drain that.
Willpower and cool. Okay, do I need like dexterity, body, or anything like that?
I mean, you're gonna be in the field with the rest of them, so you may want just to keep alive, but it probably doesn't have to be the highest.
Like, can it be below average?
Oh yeah, you can definitely have a below average. I'm just saying that it depends on whether or not you're willing to take that risk, basically.
And like I'm just trying to think, like a 2 in a skill is kind of like working knowledge. 4 would probably be like an average person, and then above that's kind of like really good because max would be 6.
Maximum 6 to start with. Maximum is actually 10.
Okay, so eventually we'll be able to go past, but just not yet.
Yeah, 10 would be like if you're like a legend in that particular field, essentially. So if you knew like if it was like 10 chemistry, you'd be the Walter White of the net running world or something like that.
Can you give me like a better example of how much luck will actually help you?
Just give me 1 sec. All right, here it is. Okay, so basically your luck, luck is something that you can use to offset die rolls, essentially. It's a thing that refills every session. So if you have 8 luck, for example, like you have right now, you can use those points to increase like a particularly bad roll to be a success. But depending on how bad the roll is, it would cost you more, that kind of thing. And once they're used up, those are just gone for the rest of the session.
Okay.
So you can do that for pretty much every roll, including attacks, but it's to your own detriment or benefit, depending. And it's per session, not per mission. So if you're on the same mission, but it's a new session that we're having together, then your luck refills.
Oh, so it's basically like a die booster.
Basically.
Personal grooming.
I
I'll put 2 points in that.
I ain't got time for baths. In fact, most people don't. It's prohibitively expensive.
Yeah, I had too many points in anyway, so I actually built up 8 up, but
I feel that would be something my character would be kind of used to, being from the
8
corporate
plus
world
4
and
plus
all.
5 plus 8 plus 6 plus 8 plus 3 plus 8 plus 4 plus 8. 62.
Good job.
Ha!
There you go.
Ha! Ha! I can math.
Now, the good thing about luck, even if it's low like that, you can still use it the same way. You just won't be able to bring it up from a very minimum.
Bureaucracy
Yeah,
business.
okay, so I was trying to do like the net running things, right? and I figure movement is good for a net runner, right? That makes sense. That makes sense to me.
That makes sense if you're trying to being able to get to cover that kind of thing or move towards a thing you need to hack right away.
Well, because I have kind of trauma from my D&D days where I couldn't like move and I kept dying.
Did you keep picking dwarves? Like, what was going on there?
Yeah, I always played worse.
Oh, jeez.
That's why you play a dwarven monk. You
I
just
always
run
played
everywhere.
Yeah,
Um,
monks get really fast.
and, I didn't really want to eat empathy because my character's not empathetic, but you say it's important, so I.
It's important, but here's the thing about empathy: it gets drained the more cybernetics you put into you. So effectively, your
I
empathy
haven't
is
gotten
probably
to the
gonna
cyber yet, so I need
yeah,
to get to
it's
the cyber.
we'll get to that later. It's the
Um,
super percent.
Do I need points in
Assuming she's gonna
paramedic
have
since I'm a
cybernetics up the
med tech?
wazoo.
So you're
Mhm.
both asking
Sorry.
separate questions. June first.
Yeah.
I was assuming she was gonna have cybernetics up the wazoo, so.
Not all the cybernetics. You would actually be surprised how few cybernetics, but it won't hurt to get more.
Yeah.
And it might be a good explanation as to why she's so unempathetic that she has so many cybernetics.
She's gonna have at least like one or two like cutesy ones because
Fashion ones, yeah.
Um,
Anyway, that it for okay, Vera.
Do I need first aid being a med tech?
That would definitely be a good idea. Yes, as
Okay.
well as
do I
paramedic.
need to know medicine?
There's
being
paramedic.
a-
Oh, paramedic
It
is
might
also
be a
here.
good idea for you to know first aid at the very least. Everybody should probably know first aid, and that's one of your basic skills that everybody knows. But also because you're part of a trauma team, it might be a good idea to maybe be a backup. And because you're here, this might be a good opportunity. Um, what do you think as a net runner your general role would be? Would you be like in the back with the people who go out on the ground and find the patient, or do you think you'd stay with the car?
I don't. So I trauma team is not something I'm with. So trauma team I always view as the bad guys. So this is
Oh yeah, I mean that's because they usually are the bad guys.
Yeah, no. You were
That's
walking
what-
through trauma team. I was gonna be like, oh, all right.
I mean that's partly why I wanted to go with it because everybody's basically bad essentially in this universe. They charge way too much for what they do. They go in and they just kill everybody who's in the way, and then they tell you "Hey, it's your fault, so pay us for the bullets that we spent to kill all these people that we didn't need to. That's essentially it. But at the same time, you're also keeping people who would otherwise die alive. So there is like there's a dichotomy there that you can kind of play with. But the main thing that I wanted to ask you about is just, would you be in the car or would you be in the team that gets dropped off, essentially?
What do you think is best?
I mean, personally, I would think either you'd be the person who's like either the co-pilot helping out, interfacing with maybe with the AV if the pilot goes down. But then again, also Nero's going with a nomad, so she's going to be a very good pilot, so she probably won't need the help.
I could
So-
pick this one off.
Also, I mean, like you're going to be two characters in the same place, basically doing the same job, so it's going to be maybe a little bit crowded. But at the same time, also the team that goes out there, either you'd be helping Vera's character here with the medical stuff, maybe interfacing with somebody who's been hacked to get a diagnostic on their biomonitors, that kind of thing. Or you'd be helping out the solo with guns and guard duty or something like that. Like maybe you're aware of like maybe cybernetic attacks that might be coming your way more than some other soldier would or something like that. Because like the way I wanted to, the reason I went with the whole calculated thing for us is because despite the fact that you're set up as a net runner, you can still kit yourself out like a solo would, technically, if you really wanted to. It's pretty easy for you to do that, even with the stats you have as R.
I'll think about it. Wait, are we gonna actually start next? But because we still haven't chosen our like gear or cyberware, all of that, or is that
Oh no,
next
no, we're
month
not
finishing
gonna
it?
start
Okay.
today at
Yeah.
all. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it. That's next week. But yeah, gear. I mean, that's a little. It comes a little bit later, but it's through the same process. We'll get here. If you want, I can stay with you guys, help you out with that if you got any more questions.
Just I have 5 more skill points. I don't know what to put into.
Okay.
I haven't chosen any skill points. Dang. I haven't chosen any skill points. I haven't chosen any gear, cyberware.
Yeah, I haven't gotten
I
to
got a
gear or
life path
cyber yet.
and some stats,
Life path is honestly the most important thing there.
which I basically all RNG'd and ended up an asshole. A very, very edgelordy asshole.
I mean, you don't. If you really want to, you can change that if you want. I don't mind if you want to redo it or something.
I basically was very amused by it, so I could.
It's fun. It's fun when you find out you're an asshole or you find out you're a goody two shoes. You could easily turn out to be a goody two shoes, like
I'm a goody.
Trandor's ex-girlfriend turned out to be a big bubbly pop girl, basically. So
I am a goody two
Hey,
shoes.
she got wild hair colors, which at least fits me. So
If you look at my life path, I'm a goody two shoes. My feelings
okay.
about people is I like almost everyone,
indeed, you are.
and what do I value most is my family, even though they're freaking crazy cultists at this point.
so you're basically gonna
One of my enemies, by the way, is my sister, who's like a high member, like a high level corporate executive, who's also a member of whatever cult. So that could be interesting. Don't know how to do that part yet.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But basically, I'm trying to play my character as kind of like the sheltered, like rich kid that's no longer rich. So I'm trying to like think of points like Streetwise would be great, but it doesn't really fit my character.
That's the thing with all of them. It's things that would fit, things that would help.
Yeah.
And not everything that would help would fit.
Yeah. I'm taking 2 points of photography and film because that just sounds like something he'd do.
Like as a side hobby kind of thing.
photography and film. That's a thing.
Yeah. There's
Yeah, you can
also
do that.
painting, drawing, and sculpting.
Of course there are.
You nenever know when it might come up. Maybe a cyber psycho is
I
painting
feel like mine
people.
would take points in pickpocketing because she's that kind of bitch.
What are like the primary languages other than street slang?
There'd be English, Japanese, Spanish, and there's like one other. I think it'd probably be either German or something like that.
Sure. I'll take 2 points.
Russian
of
to a
English.
lesser extent, but that's just because the Soviet Union still exists in this universe.
Sure. I'll take 2 points of English.
How do you buy skills? I'm kind of skipping around at this point. So.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Statistics. That's on page 79.
How many skills can you have? How do you buy them?
It's a
No skill can be higher than 6. The following skills must be at least level 2. Oh, all of these skills must be at least level 2?
Yeah, they've already filled them
all the
out.
bold ones, at least. Yes.
And so yeah, those are at a minimum 2. You get 86 points, but they've already used 26 of them, so you get 60 points to spend on them. The ones that have a times 2 just cost double points.
And also, most of these ones already have them populated on your skill
Oh, they're
character
already
sheet.
populated? Cool.
Yeah. The only exceptions is local expert, your home, and language is street slang. So you're gonna have to put that in manually. I already took.
Really? Languages street slang isn't auto-populated?
No, for some reason the little ones where you had to press a button to add more. I don't know why it's not there. But
Sure.
I
Yeah.
thought street slang was just assumed, not...
no, it's a skill. You can know more of it, basically. But with two, at the very least, you have a basic grasp, so you're not gonna completely not understand everyone.
Okay, straight slang. Right. So the
Paramedic
skill
was
can be higher than six. What is six the highest you can get, or it just
that's the highest
Six
we
is
can
the
currently use.
highest you can get at current. 10 is the highest you can get ever possible.
okay?
All right. I have one skill point left, which means I need to increase
So
a
if you
skill.
have like a 10 in straight slang, just like the hoity-toity bitch, and
Yeah,
everyone's like, how
if you
dare
wanted to, yes. You also have to add local expert to your home. So that would either be where you currently live, where you grew up, or anything in between.
Oh, my background is that I moved around a lot. So how does that work?
We could say
There.
maybe where you spent the most time. So you're Navajo, right? So that would probably be
Okay, so it says cultural origin is local North American Navajo, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you grew up there. But like, if you look at family background, it said Iran edge runner. Then it said childhood environment was Drift Nation, offshore city. Then it said family crisis, family was killed. So like, I don't know what that means as far as like where I was.
well, I mean that's just an idea of where you could be. The reason I even brought up Navajo at all is because that's like a northwest ish part of the country, essentially. In this universe, essentially all the states are relatively separate from each other. Essentially, like the United States isn't united whatsoever. Everyone's out for themselves.
Hmm.
So what we could say is that you're from the Midwest, maybe. So you'd be a local expert, maybe Midwest states, something like that. Or maybe you're from somewhere else because you grew up there, or like your family moved there, or something like that. Hell, you could say Texas. Texas is like the big holdout in
Fuck
this universe.
Texas.
I'm just saying.
Fuck Texas.
My
It's just
local
an
expert is
example.
New York City.
Hmm.
My local expert is New York City.
Hell, I mean,
Yeah.
if you're Navajo, you could also say you're from one of the cities. Maybe you moved there too.
Yeah, they edge runners. They can be anywhere.
All
Fuck
right.
Texas.
So
Basically.
got my skills done finally.
So you could have been from like a drift city if you selected that. I didn't look too closely. Drift cities are basically like flotillas on the ocean, essentially. They're there's one in the Gulf of Mexico. There's a couple out in the Pacific, floating around California. But it's basically the movie Waterworld with Kevin Costner. Essentially, it's just that. Everybody's on ski-doos. Everybody's floating in giant Mad Max style boats, and it's also like the game Brink, if you remember that disaster.
Mm.
It's essentially that.
Skills marked in master skill list for times two. Cost two skill points to increase auto fire.
Auto fire is basically a skill to control your weapon while it's in full auto mode. So if you have an assault rifle, it automatically has the full auto mode. But
I'm
if you
a
don't have auto,
netrunner. Who needs an auto fire?
I don't know. Maybe you do. Well, you could use a shotgun if you really wanted to.
Netrunner.
Either way, it would use shoulder arms. But in order to use the auto fire ability that a gun gives you, like an assault rifle, um, you would need the auto fire skill to use it effectively, because otherwise
Or
you'd just
honestly,
go
bows
level.
and crossbows is more tempting than like any auto fire.
That works.
I
Yeah,
will fuck you up from the butt.
that definitely works. It's definitely an option. There's crossbows. I think there's a crossbow you can get in your arm, actually.
I found the weapon that I want. It's an exotic weapon
A
called a
glow
battle glove.
stick.
There's glow sticks and
Glow
flashlights.
stick.
Yeah.
Lasts for 10 hours.
Damn.
Super glow stick.
Bag lady chic.
It's basically homeless clothing. You wear
A homeless, ragged vagrant. How did I get to there instead of the skills? Did it just
I mean, it's on page 90 that the skill list is there if you want to look at it. Get a total of 86, and it's minus all those basic ones, so it would be minus 20 out the gate.
Alright, let's see what we got for skill. So I got 60 skill points to use.
66 actually.
66.
Yep, because it's 86 total and minus 20 to get all your basic to 20.
Minus
Or,
26, there's
two.
13 skills that we needed.
Yeah, it would be.
So yeah, we have
Thank you,
60 points.
Yep.
Bribery sounds like something I'd use.
Remember, if you do take it, it can't be any lower than 2.
I start moving stuff up and then lowering it as I need. Be like, ooh, this sounds nice, and I'm like,
God. 5 points into paramedic was 10 skill points, and that was painful.
Painful, but it's going to be useful.
Oh yeah. Well, I have 5 first aid and 5 paramedic on top of whatever my med tech role ability will do too. So I figured that'll
see,
be
demolition sounds fun, but that's at times too. That's painful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets a little bit painful, but those ones do end up being pretty damn useful.
Yeah.
Kind of on that subject, though, you may want to look at your med tech ability because you can fuel those medicine 4 into those 1 of 3 systems there. So pharmaceuticals, surgery, or a cryo system. And those
See,
may
brain
be
dance
useful
stuff sounds real
in many
fun,
ways.
too.
Oh, are these extra skills that I have?
Yeah, basically. Surgery would be the most useful, most likely, because then you can actually cut into somebody and not kill them, essentially. And pharmaceuticals give you access to drugs you can make on the fly that are actually the most powerful drugs in the game. You can't get any other way.
Sure. I'll take out a point of deduction. Tactics.
Okay.
I am removing German. I do not know German anymore. And take out a point of personal grooming. And take out a point of basic tech.
Okay, I have to think.
No, I took out more than that.
So for every point you allocate to surgery, this starts on 149 for you there. You gain 2 points in the surgery skill, actually. So it goes up to 4.
It's on this character slightly, but think this.
Okay.
So the max you can have a skill at is 6, right?
That's right.
So my surgery is at an... let's put it at a 6. And I'll put pharmaceuticals at 3. I don't feel that cryo system operations fits the character.
Well, you never know, but in all likelihood, you probably won't need it unless it's a serious emergency where you can't stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, surgery should be able to take care of it.
8.
I'm gonna go down to a 4 paramedic and a 4 first aid and put another point in there and 2 points in cryo system. There.
Well, to be clear here, this is not based on your skill points. This is based on your ability points.
Oh.
What is perception?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
So basically, you have 4 you can allocate to.
To
Sorry,
anywhere I
I
want.
didn't
Got
say
it.
that up front. I should have.
That's fine. All right. So put 1 point in pharmaceuticals. 4 points there. Am I gonna get more ability with my roll ability? Am I gonna get more points later?
Yep, you will.
Okay.
The way it works is that after each session, if you succeeded or how you played, you get what are called improvement points. I wanted to go over it, but everybody had to leave a little bit earlier than I hoped, or so it is what it is. Basically, improvement points can feed into your roll ability, but it can also be fed into your skills, and there's a conversion rate on that. I'll bring up the page number for that in a second.
We got 6, 12, 18. 8.
Here it is, page 411 at the very bottom there. So basically, if you wanted to get 1 level of a skill improvement, you need at least 20, and the higher it goes, the IP cost increases. So, for example, if you wanted to get like athletics to 4, you would have to pay 80 improvement points just to do that.
Jeez.
Yep. And for ability rank, it goes by 60s. So 60 for 1, since it starts at 4, you'll go to 300 in order to get that up to 5.
Okay.
Induction.
I know German again.
You learn and unlearn German so quickly.
I know.
You can take the German out of the guy, but it comes back.
Character's French. Don't even.
Okay, so all right, so skills. How good is a 2 versus a 4 versus a 6?
2 is minimum. Basically, you got it's the difference between being able to turn on your computer and access a browser versus being able to turn on a computer, access your browser, or turn on a VPN, or get into a virtual machine, know how to operate that. Essentially, it's basically more technical knowledge or more ability to know what you're doing in a specific field. What skill in particular are you talking about, though?
Any skill. I'm just trying to get a basic thing of skill
Right.
levels.
So, brawling, let's say brawling, you're able to know how to throw a punch. You don't know how to more effectively predict where someone would go. So, if you were punching somebody, you'd know how to throw a punch to hit them and make it hurt them. You wouldn't know enough to think of where a natural dodge would be, so you would miss more often, essentially. That's the way I would describe it, basically, using attacks, because that's usually the most basic thing you could be doing.
What about, say, street slang? Am I going to be speaking like an orc too?
I mean, you can be if you want. You can be a Cockney Navajo if you want. There's nothing stopping you.
Well, you say it's the most basic. Am I going to be like, me feel good? It's not.
Me feel good, that would be 0, and you having 2 intelligence. That's what that would be. Street slang 2, that's knowing what most basic slang words are, so you can get a gist of what anyone's saying in any kind of language. So you would get what a gonk is, because everybody says gonk in no matter what language that they're saying. And then you get stuff where they have swears or concepts that aren't in that aren't conveyed in through street slang that's just going to go straight over your head. But basically, you would be more effective at understanding the nuances of specific slang the higher that skill got. So if people started speaking in code or something like that using street slang, you'd be able to decipher it more easily. That's just an example off the top of my head. Like if they were trying to hide from. Sorry?
How quickly do you get skill points? More skill points, generally.
Well, this is what I was getting over with Vera there. It's on page, what was it, 411, I think? Yeah, it is. At the very bottom there, generally speaking, the very bare minimum you're always going to get, even if you guys fuck up and kill the patient, is going to be 10 improvement points. And improvement points basically go like this. For a skill improvement, it's every 20 per rank in that skill. And that increases. So, for example, if you have 6 in a skill, it would cost 140 points to get it up to 7. And for an ability rank, like Vera was asking about his medicine, that would go up by 60. So it gets exponentially higher.
Assuming you use the skill to rank it up, so it's not like you're going to be able to improve the skill you're not using.
Sorry, what? What did you say?
I'm assuming that's to rank up a skill that you're currently using, not like you can rank up a skill you're not using.
Oh, no, you can definitely rank up a skill you're not using. You would have to give me a reason as to why you're able to do that, though. And it would be just as simple as, oh, I started pumping iron in my spare time. Something like that. You know, it's really simple. If you could just bullshit out of your ass, then go ahead. It would work. And I'm willing to accept pretty much anyway. There you go. There you go. Exactly. Read a book on it. I took a community college course on it.
I started trading stocks, you know.
But generally speaking, though, you're always going to get at least 10, depending on how well you do. You see like the little chart up there. If you do better or if you do specific things, you may get more, upwards of 80 on average.
Aim for 80. Got it.
Yeah. In all likelihood, you're probably not going to get 80. That's going to be like doing something completely insane. Like not the kind of setting off a nuke by Johnny Silverhand insane, but doing the kind of thing where you weave in and out of traffic and nearly start a war insane.
Cut off the wrong person.
Yep.
How much money do we start with?
I'm just gonna get to that. Give me 1 second.
Can I be a rich bitch?
I was honestly hoping that there would be a skill for wealth to have extra money.
For you guys, you have 2,000.
There is a forgery skill. I'm taking pictures.
You guys have 2,550 Eurobucks you can spend on gear, fashion, cyberware, armor, and weapons, and 800 specifically for fashion and fashion wear. So that's purely for aesthetics. If
80 just for money or just for clothes. Perfect.
I'm honestly considering forgery, demolitions, and pickpocketing. So this is the area that I'm really thinking of going to.
Now, keep in mind though that 2,550 is also, and the extra 800 for fashion and whatnot, also should go towards your lifestyle and housing. So that's like whether you live on the street, in a car, inside like a 2,550 for basically guns, armor, gear, cyberware, and then you get another 800 only for fashion stuff.
Perfect. 800 money to buy mirror shades.
Yep.
That's all I'm wearing. Just naked from the face down.
Now for fashion stuff, they 800 can also go towards cybernetics called fashion wear. So that's like having a watch embedded in your skin, or having a biomonitor that you can hack into. You specifically there, June.
Hmm?
Fashion wear like a biomonitor or a biomon, you can hack directly into that. That's that what that I know you don't like the game, but that's what they hack into in the beginning of the game when you rescue that person in that ice bath.
Yeah. See, that's
Yeah.
probably the only way that I'm going to be useful in a first aid sense, because guess who doesn't have first aid skills?
You should have 8 first aid skills. You should at least have 2 in that. That's the basic one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but like, guess who's not picking up more first aid skills?
Well, you may want to pick up cyber tech and basic tech, honestly, because that is kind of a little bit of your thing, honestly. I mean, your tech ability or attribute is still pretty high, so it would overwrite a lot of that, and you could probably brute force it that way. But I would still honestly get maybe a couple of those tech skills, like basic, especially cyber tech, because at least then you can, if you hack somebody for their and check out their cyberware, you know what you're looking at.
Fashion page 102. Bag lady chic.
It's a hell of a name for something.
Gang colors, generic chic, bohemian, urban
My
flash.
tech skill at again. Tech is at 8. All right.
Whew, that's expensive.
Yeah, it's very expensive.
What is my cool at? Cool is at 6. We might need to up that.
Flash.
They're at 8. 6 and 8. Okay. I'm making the weirdest build right now.
You kind of are actually, but I mean, I won't knock it completely. The only thing I will just again reiterate is that you may want more first aid and cyber tech at least, because at least then it would be of more benefits. I think on the
Yeah, I'm
crown.
probably gonna change things later, but I'm kind of like trying to problem solve right now. So
Oh yeah, I got you.
I'm trying to problems.
And it's definitely
Right
the
now,
last
it's
thing
not
I'm gonna
matching what I'm trying to do.
Yep.
Guessing friendly fire is definitely
Friendly fire is what?
definitely a thing.
It can be a thing. I'm not gonna make it a thing in this game just because we're all learning for the first time. The only thing I'm gonna be a bit of a stickler on is cover, but only because the game is a bit of a stickler on it too. So
Yeah, because I'm like, if I do demolitions, could I like take off someone's own?
I think demolitions actually lets you dismantle people's cover more effectively, if I remember right. Let me just bring that up again.
All right. So I have 5 pairs of mirror shades just in case my first one breaks, and it costs more than my entire outfit.
What costs more than the entire outfit?
Just
Five
mirror shades.
5 sets of mirror shades cost me 250. My pants, top, and footwear cost me 220.
I honestly kind of want to go on shopping spree just like you. So let me go chat.
Remember, it's 2,550 for basic equipment. For fashion, you get another 800, and that's only for fashion. But that includes cybernetic fashion stuff.
800 for fashion. Ooh,
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's go.
That's what I was looking. It's kind of basic. They just have like a list of the kind of like the cost for it, and you just kind of do it yourself.
Yep. But also keep in mind, cybernetics is also included in that. So it's called fashion wear. That would be on the.
They gotta. Why can't they organize this in a way that makes it easy for me to find? All right, let's.
102 is normal
first.
fashion.
We're gonna go to cyberware first.
And 111 is fashion wear.
Yeah.
Putting the cyber.
Feel like
Yeah.
we need because fashion wear.
It also doesn't.
It
also doesn't cost you humanity
cyber
for
deck and stuff, right? Is that under fashion wear?
No, it is not actually. Fashion wear doesn't cost you humanity, and it just gives you like sometimes like a cool little thing, like Chemstin, for instance, gives you +2 to personal grooming.
So my cyber deck is probably gear, right? Yeah.
No. Well, actually, yes, it would. Sorry, I don't know why I said no. Sorry.
Yeah, I saw it immediately when I clicked on gear.
Yeah.
Tech hair.
500 EB, expensive.
Yep. You are going to need a cyber deck, though, so that's...
I know. I know. Alright, let's... cyber deck, standard qual... Who wants a standard qual? Ugh.
You may want to look at the differences between standard, poor, and expensive quality.
Net running. Alright, let's see here. Cyber decks are modular transfer. Poor quality. Fuck your poor quality. Excellent quality, yes. Sounds like a cuss.
What does mall mean under install?
What is what?
It says mall under biomonitor.
Oh, no, that's where you get it installed. So you can go into your mall and they basically just do it there.
Oh, you can just get it at a mall. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Other places you have to go to a hospital. Other place you can go to a street clinic, that kind of thing. It basically just explains like the severity of the kind of implant going on.
Yeah, and that goes. It's under fashion wear. There's literally a thing for it under cyberware.
Virtuality goggles. Is that just brain dance or?
No, that's virtuality goggles for interfacing with your cyber deck. So it's you being able to visualize your surroundings in a net environment or a net architecture, they call it in this.
Okay, what has changed? What do I need to net run? Netrunners need at least a little cyberware, interface plugs, program hardware, miscellaneous upgrades, virtual. Probably want a few tools besides virtuality goggles and a cyber deck loaded with hardware, doing things on the net. Being a netrunner isn't easy. Meet actions versus net actions. Meet motions.
Here's the very, very basic. You want cyber deck, virtuality goggles, Neuralink cyberware, and then interface plugs cyberware. That's the 4 things you mainly want. Everything else is just kind of stuff you want added on top of that.
Is that gonna fit in 2550? Am I gonna have clothes? Or I could be naked.
Neuralink is 500. Interface plugs is another 500, and to get and those cost either a flat 7, or you roll 2d6 and just go with that and take your chances.
So I'm not gonna have clothes. Is what you're saying?
No, you should still have clothes. 800
I'm not
bucks
gonna be
is
homeless. Is what you're saying?
yeah, probably.
Dare.
Now,
I'm gonna steal the jet. That's what's gonna happen.
now what I will say though is that this is all before you can say that you live in like an apartment in like West Side or something like that. It's like
I'm gonna
that
steal the jet.
if you can have like an apartment in Westbrook, you could have an apartment in like a mega structure or something like that. Basically, what it means is that after your work with trauma team or doing your job on the side, like during downtime between sessions or something like that, you could also be making more money that you could afford living in a high class place like that. So it's not like you're going to be completely out of money. It's just going to be completely out of money right now. Essentially, it's what happens to most people in this universe. Everyone spends everything they got on everything.
Apartments.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, no one has a house, so a house is for the rich.
Because
But-
I jacked their money and I stole their place. That's why they hate me.
Now we know why my exes hate me.
Yeah, I mean that'll work too. Yeah. But also, in order to keep that place, you're gonna want to pay the bills for it. So.
No, that's see now it's making sense. The reason why I took the points in forgery and pickpocketing is I jacked their shit and I stole their place.
I know, but the thing is, in order to even keep like water running, regardless of whether you jack their place, you're still gonna have to pay for it. So, anyway, so for cyberware, that's at least 1,000 you're gonna have to spend right out the gate. So,
Phew.
Let's see here. Wow, they really do not want to put everything like consistently in one spot, do they? Shit.
no, it's kind of all over the place. But at the very least, when they add those little sidebars, so you can select what page number you go to pretty easily if it comes
Okay,
up.
let's go back up because at first they were talking about a deck and then they lost me. Shit. All right. Okay, yeah, they lost me. Let's go back up. Let's go back to page 42. Gear. All right. Then we need cyber deck. Page 363.
All right, page 196 is what the difference between a poor and excellent quality cyber deck is. It's basically the number of program slots you can have in it.
Yeah. But then they said virtuality goggles. All right. That programs versus hardware, miscellaneous goggles, net actions, net running. And then that's when they started going all crazy. So I was just looking for information.
Yeah. Okay, so I already told you about the four main things. The other thing they may want is programs and hardware. So that's probably like things like a sword, virtual sword, basically, black ice to
I'm looking
kill stuff
for
with.
the cost, the programs. I'm looking for the cost of the virtuality goggles. 'Cause
Say virtuality goggles, and then all this like jack in, jack out interface, D10. Where's the money?
The money is actually on page 203. So you got
Yeah.
booster programs, defender programs, attacker programs.
Okay, but what's the cost of the virtuality goggles?
That would be under gear. Give me 1 second.
See, they mentioned the virtuality goggles, but they don't say immediately what they cost. That's like, come now, guys. You were doing so well.
100 bucks.
Hmm?
100 eddies.
That's it.
That's it.
It's one cost for virtuality. There's no like poor quality, excellent quality, blah blah blah.
No, not for those. Cyber decks are the only ones that have quality in this particular
Alright.
instance.
So virtuality goggles, 100, whatever. And they are just goggles. These boosters, defenders, attackers, they are the things that you put in the slots.
That's right.
Cool.
You had mentioned swords and whatever. What are
Swords, shields, those are the types of programs. So if you notice there, like,
cool.
there's a bunch of names for that. They can actually look like, you can write it down that they actually look like swords and shields, or like D&D monsters or something like that, but they don't have to look like any of those things. You can make it up. I mean, it's your programs. You can say that you wrote them to look a certain way in virtual reality.
You had mentioned 4 things. Or are you just talking the programs? Because you had said...
No, the 4 things I already went over, that included the cyberware, so you already just selected that and took care of it, so.
Alright, sweet.
Damn.
Oh, the boosters and defenders and stuff. Those are cheap. Okay, I can make that work. I can. Okay, some of these are expensive. Like the giant is expensive.
Oh yeah, they're all pretty expensive.
I was looking at the 50 ones.
Keep in mind, don't forget about your meat body too, because you are going to be catching bullets most likely.
Meat body? Where is the meat body?
No, like I'm
yourself,
talking about
like
outside
armor.
of the net.
Like actual armor.
Yeah.
In all likelihood, you're probably just going to want leather armor, very minimal, but at least it's something.
Like I said, I'm used to being a glass king.
That's fine. Since you're going to need them anyway, I'll just write down your cyberware neural link and all that stuff, because you are going to need it for hacking anything.
Neuralink? Where is that? How much is the Neuralink? Oh,
That's 500 eds.
Okay. Neural link 500. How much humanity does that cost?
That's either 7 or you roll 2d6 and take your chances and hope it's under 7. But you could get more humanity loss than that. It's up to you.
Anything else that I have to do with humanity loss with this?
No, just remove either the 2d6 or the 7. You are going to have to do that twice, though, because you're going to need interface plugs on top of that. I'll take care of writing that for you if you want to keep on looking at gear.
I actually just rolled 2d6 and got a blank 7, so...
Well, there you go.
Yeah, go figure. Interface plugs, how much do those cost?
Same cost, humanity and eds.
So 500 to 1,000 total?
Correct.
Hey, I rolled a 6.
Nice.
Eee.
So that's 17. Or not 17. 13. I had 7 on the brain there. Alright, that brings you down to 67 out of 80 humanity. Still got plenty of left if you want to put in more cyberware and you can afford it.
How much humanity do I have left?
67. That also brings you down to effectively 6 empathy.
Six empathy.
That's
How
right.
does empathy work for this?
Empathy determines how much humanity you have. Once you get down to like 1 or 0 empathy, essentially, like if you get down to like a single digit humanity, then you start going psycho.
Ooh, what happens for those I know?
You lose control of your character. You start killing everybody who's in your way.
Fuck with me.
Basically.
Are biology and chemistry as sciences going to be come up a lot for sciences?
It depends on what kind of sciences. Chemistry, it may come up if you're trying to figure out like maybe what killed a guy or maybe what's affecting someone's body, that kind of thing.
Okay. And same thing
Is
with
there like
biology
a
then.
notepad somewhere on here so I can keep track of this shit?
What was your question there?
Is there like a notepad on this so I can like just keep track of shit?
Not really, no. You can go to bio and info at the very top there and kind of write stuff down on your own using the edit button on the top right.
I pressed edit and then the ribbon just disappeared. Like it was closed out. The window just closed. What?
Really?
Yeah. It just
That's-
closed the entire window.
That's odd. Well, just open it again and try it again. Maybe it just need to be reset.
Only uses brawling shield attack and the damage dealt for each blow
Minus
scales with the attacker's body stat.
$1,000 for cyber expenses. IR poor. This is matching reality too much now.
Now, there is a couple options here. If you guys are running out of money and you still want to do more,
You can
You
mug
got-
someone.
sorry?
You can mug someone.
Not exactly. You're going to have to find a sponsor. An unsavory sponsor who may extort you for cash later. Or for work that you may not want to do.
Why can't she just find another ex and just let herself out?
That would have to be done through gameplay, unfortunately. We're talking about prior to starting the game. Basically, you can either join a covert military, that's like either a corp military or any of the other paramilitaries that are out there, like a militia, something like that. You can join up with organized crime, or you can just sell out to a corporation and do odd jobs for them constantly. And picking any of those options will net you 1,500 eddies just for cyberware.
Wait, sorry, I spaced out. What did you say? Sorry.
You can get 1,500 eds in cyberware. And that includes getting a Neuralink for free. But in order to do that, you have to either sell it to a corp, join up with a organized crime family, or join a covert military black ops group. The kind of wet work that most people go cyber psycho by participating in.
Question is, does my character have enough empathy to even care?
And the question is that smart, actually? Because there's a whole bunch of things that could happen. On the next page, that's page 119, any of these things could be options that I could throw at you if you picked one of those.
Any of what things? I'm not looking at the page that we're looking at.
119, they could ensure your good behavior by taking someone hostage. In your case, that probably won't work. Yet they could blackmail you with something that you did that's illegal that could ruin your rep or ruin your employment. They could put basically a bomb in one of your cybernetics that they installed on you that you can't take out without killing you. They could have you constantly monitored for the rest of your life, that kind of thing. Or they could just basically have your entire career at their beck and call.
I love them trying to kidnap one of my exes and being like, how do I keep them?
Maybe they thought about that. Yeah, exactly.
And they'd be like, we thought this would work.
Here's something that's really fucked up too. If they got really vicious, they could just through using a command word cause you to turn into like a sleeper killer essentially. basically turning you into a assassin at the drop of a hat just by saying one word. There's a whole bunch of shit that could happen here. My favorite, honestly, and probably the one that would be most affected by your character, is having a bomb implanted inside their brain. If
Do
you
it.
wanted to go,
Do
if
it.
you wanted to go this route.
Do it. Oh boy, you can get shot in the head.
Yeah, does extra damage. Always lethal.
Can I say if I buy medium armor jacks at the cost of 100, can they just be my shades?
We can say that it's armor that looks like it's made out of the same material as mirror shades, but it's not going to be a series of mirror shades that are all duct taped together.
No. That's what I mean. Like a set, like a pair of mirror shades that basically just counts as my armor, just because of looks. Like I don't want to wear a helmet.
I'm fine with that. Yeah, actually,
Right.
that it will get a if it ever gets shot, it will get ablated and probably crack.
That's
or,
fine. I'll buy two.
Look,
I'll buy 2 sets. I'm gonna take off
Oh
one
my
of these
goodness,
sets to
I
put on a
want
new
this
one.
thing so much. I can't afford it. Dang
what is it?
Giant. Does 3d6 damage direct to an enemy netrunner's brain. The netrunner is forcibly and unsafely junked out of their current netrun. They suffer the effect of all res enemy black ice they've encountered in the architecture as they leave, not including the
Jesus Christ.
icon. Gold Egyptian cobra spitting beams of neon needle. Class anti-personnel black ice. I love it.
Jesus.
It's a
Yeah.
thousand.
I'm gonna be honest here. You may have to just bite the bullet and just settle for an ass for a hellhound.
Huh?
You may have to bite the bullet and settle for an ass, but at least it's within your price range, probably.
It's 1,000 eddies. I need to buy this.
Jesus. I think that leaves you 550 just for gear. Probably less than that because you had to get Cyberdeck and virtuality.
I put it in my clothes, but I wear no clothes. That's what it meant. You put your clothes budget into the giant. It's like, yo, I'm a hobo. I am a homeless hobo, but I have a giant.
Something you may want to look at here is the miscellaneous upgrades that they were talking about.
Yeah,
It's on,
I just scrolled down to that.
yeah, Cyberdeck in your cyberarm, so no longer a little laptop you're holding. And it has one extra program slot.
Wait, so if you get a cyber arm option, does that mean you no longer need the cyber deck? I'm confused.
Yeah, that's correct.
Wait, so in that case, do you not buy the cyber deck? You just buy the I'm confused.
Here's what you can do. You can sell your old cyberdeck
Mm-hmm.
and then use the cyberdeck in your cyberarm as your cyberdeck instead.
But then-
Here's the difference, though. In order to even use this, you would have to have a cyberarm first. It's like your Neuralink. In order to have your interface plugs, you need to have one in order to install other options, and this
But
is
then
one of
how
them.
do you know how many slots you have?
That is through. Hold on.
Because you have like the expensive, the regular, but then with the cyber arm, I see an install and you have expensive and it says HL? Question mark?
Yeah, that's your humanity loss.
Humanity loss. Okay, yeah.
Yep. So cyberarm, you would have to spend 500 on that in order to get
It
the
says it
option.
has 4 option slots for cyber alarm or cyber limb option. Question. Does that mean you can have a maximum of 4 slots in it?
Exactly. any of the four that are not in black there, you can slot into there essentially.
What do you mean any of the four that are not in black?
Like Big Nux, Grapple Hand, Pop Up Shield, 3-arm, or that Cyberdeck Cyberarm thing. So it's basically on your arm you have 4 things you can slot into it before it just reaches max, and you just can't slot more in. And they can be any of those things that are underneath it, except for standard hand. Those need to be.
Well, you have 2 arms. Have one with Cyberdeck and one with something else.
The other can be meat still. In order to get it counts per arm is the thing. So it would only be in the one arm that is cybernetic. The other arm would have a separate
arm that's Cyberdeck, and then you have another cyber arm that's something else.
Yep, that's right. You would have to buy both though in order to have that a thing. Technically, you can have 2 cyberdecks going dual box at the same time. You can technically do it. You go wall-eyed, but still.
I like that you can just buy a drum synthesizer.
Well, because I'm here wondering how many of these cyber thingamajiggers are actually useful. Because, like, I was looking at the like 7-slot, like, I'm gonna fuck you up thing, but then I'm like, how many of these are actually useful?
The cyberdeck, just excellent quality one, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? If you put all of your money into your cyberdeck, what are you going to have left for cool things like a cyberarm that has maybe a grapple hook out of it or something like that, you know?
Can you ever, like, upgrade your cyberarm to ever have that many slots?
No. It's always 4 every single time.
Med bags are expensive. Or med
But-
scanners.
Can you have a cyber deck and a cyberarm? Yeah.
Yeah, you do have to have you have to have a cyberarm to get a cyberdeck in your cyberarm. But you can also just have a normal gear-based one as well.
Well, I'm also, like I said, I'm looking at. Okay, so all of these cyber deck things, are they all against netrunners? Can you use them against non-netrunners? Because they're all like against the enemy netrunner. Mm-hmm.
Anyone who's slotted into or interfaced with a net architecture is considered a enemy netrunner, even if they're not actually a netrunner who's actively trying to work against you.
Okay, in Cyberpunk Red's universe, is it still the case that pretty much everyone is somehow slotted into something?
Depends on what you mean by that.
Okay, so in 2077, at least, everyone has something that is hooked up to something. But in Red's universe, is that still the case?
It's a bit more analog now than it used to be. It's basically that you can wirelessly hack something from a distance through a net architecture, but it has to be connected to that architecture. So, for instance, you can hack a netrunner that's inside of a building, but in order to do that, you would either have to be physically 6 meters within that person, slot into them directly, and hack them that way, or you would have to go all the way at the other end of their the net architecture that they're slotted into themselves, and go in through the back way and go through every single room in that net architecture to get to them. So it's basically that everything is isolated, nothing is widely connected. So, like if he just pulled his plugs, for instance, you just wouldn't be able to get him. You'd have to just resort to shooting him at that point.
So it's not that useful, is what you're saying.
It's not the most useful, but it can be useful, especially if you're trying to be stealthy about it. I mean, most of these things are always situational in the first place.
Marcy, what are you doing? Please don't knock my food off the table.
I love that there's just a piece of gear called the carry-all. It's just a bag for carrying stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give this a good long think. What this is gonna be.
Yeah, that's fine.
Making characters is always so difficult.
I mean, you got this far, honestly. I expected you to get hung up a lot earlier than this.
Really? I
Yeah.
haven't gotten that far. So,
I mean, the last thing is just figuring out what you spend stuff on, so... well, actually, the last
life
thing
path, I
is...
basically just rolled a whole bunch of D's and was just like, yo, whatever.
Yeah.
She's an asshole.
Yeah, that works. That works. The only thing I would ask... The only thing I'd ask from you is maybe, like, figure out, like... flesh out a little bit more of, like, what this character is. Think of a name, that kind of thing. If you don't want to create a token, I'll create one for you. I'll just get your opinion on what options I come up with or something.
Mercy.
You're okay there, right here?
Yeah, I'm just picking what sounds to be useful items out of my money.
Yeah.
Every time I go and click on fashion, it just shows me general chic, and then it's like costly every day, costly. Is there not like details, or do I just what's going on here?
Generally speaking, anything that's above expensive, you're gonna need to contact a fixer in order to buy it. That's
Like
generally
I'm
how it
talking about,
works.
do they not have like details on like what you can buy, or is it just like?
Oh no, they have details. What in particular are you trying to find? Let me just.
So I
bring it
rolled
up.
general chic is what I rolled. So I was just like,
Oh, the fashion stuff.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they don't really get into that a hell of a lot. It's frustratingly vague, frankly.
what?
Yeah, but it kind of gives you,
Fashion?
like, the options to kind of choose your own, which was kind of nice.
And I have a cat trying to like eat my microphone right now. So, hi, sweetheart. How you doing?
Ah, yes, a personal care pack for my grooming habits. Everything you need to clean up. Look at that. Perfect.
There we go.
Now, if you want the full list of all kinds of fashion stuff, that's on page 356. Aside from those three little adjectives that they describe each thing with, you're not going to get much more than that.
Yeah, that's really sad. But I guess that's what we're working with. I guess I'm just gonna have to pull from real life and imagine. Imagination.
Yeah. I'm a little disappointed in this game that it has not as much imagery specific to what things look like the other
I
game.
might just give her a
But-
colorful version of my current hair.
Oh yeah, I forgot to ask you what you actually dyed it. Yeah, I remembered that you changed it to something, but I don't know what it is now.
I haven't dyed my hair right now, but it's gray. I have fake hair right now because I cut my hair. I don't know if I told you that.
No, you didn't.
I just chopped it off.
Cheaper.
I also don't know if you've seen my hair. I don't know if you caught me on stream in the times that I actually had face cam.
No, I haven't.
I can give you a temporary face pic that I can then nuke off the face of the planet. Give me a second.
As I downloaded it.
Oh, I mean, yeah, you could. I can't stop you.
Oh, you could.
What are
Yeah.
virtuality goggles?
This is
That's what you use to visualize the internet. basically.
Is my hair.
Sure, I guess I'll get up here.
Cool.
That is my hair.
All right, I have
That works.
1350 left for cyberware.
I like my hair. I might give her a colorful version of that shit.
That works.
Yep. It's fun. I had to explain to my landlord downstairs how hair works. She's like, how did that happen? Your hair was short. It's long now. How did it? Is it an
What?
extension?
That's
That what?
Uh,
I
had
don't.
to- I
I'm
had
not
to
a-
explain to her that I have braids.
I am not a fashionista. I'm not even a barber. I don't even know anything beyond cut hair, short, man. That's it. Even I know how that works.
I had to explain to her that I have braids in my hair, and then you can crochet hair into the braids to then give the illusion of long hair. And she was like, "Oh." I had
Jesus.
blown this woman's mind. It was amazing.
Yeah, that.
I don't.
I
then
mean,
again,
she blew my
I don't
mind
think
just
she's
as hard.
ever
So
seen a brown person's hair before. I
I
don't.
mean, that sounds like it. Yeah.
I literally blew this woman's hair, and then I literally have it in like a mohawk style, so that I lifted my hair, and then she saw that it was literally like one line of hair, and she's like, "Oh." I was like, "Yeah, it's like it's really lightweight because it's only one line of hair. It's just really thick, so it's really nice." And I'm like, it's called a protective style because I can grow my hair out, and it's protected from the elements. And she was like,
And then when it's windy, you can just flop it on one side, and it just insulates you against the wind.
yeah, it's literally, I put it in a mohawk. It's just so thick that I can style it like that. I think it's cute. I was like, it's so cute, isn't it? She's like, yeah, it's real cute. I thought she was going to insult me for a second.
No.
She's like, "It's so cute."
You're in person, they're not going to do that.
Huh?
It doesn't matter. So basically, how much money do you have there left there, June? You have like maybe I think like 200 or 300 ads
I have
left.
negative money, probably. I'm pretty sure I have negative money.
All right.
We're good.
Have you been keeping track of the price of these things that you've been buying, or?
I haven't been buying anything right now. I've been kind of window shopping. So it's kind of,
Right. Okay.
uh,
there's a lot of stuff to go through now for
Yeah.
cyberware. Jesus Christ, cyber optics.
Main
But
thing
yeah.
I would do if you're a starting character is pick one thing, because most of the time you're gonna need to buy into that one thing and then buy options afterwards in order to get what you want. So,
yeah,
for
the
instance, if
idea
you want,
being. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, if you, for instance, like June, she has to get a neural link in order to get interface plugs, so she has to buy that. So, if she wanted to get other things like a chipware socket, which is probably going to be pretty useful for you in the future, then that's the prerequisite is already set up for that for her.
Well,
so
from my
that's-
understanding, I have to get a Neuralink interface plug. That's already 1,000, and then I have to get a cyberdeck and virtuality goggles, and then the actual like shit to put into the cyberdeck to do the thingamajiggers. So I'm already like 2,000 in the hole.
Yeah,
So
Yo, I can have vampire teeth and use them as a weapon.
yeah, you can. You can have Wolverine claws too.
That's awesome.
and we only have 2,550 to like buy the things and have a place to live. So I'm negative money is what I'm having, and then you have 800 in fashion. So like,
Well, what
I'm
I was gonna
basically
what I was saying earlier though is that your lifestyle, that just means that you were paid up for the month of last. So basically, you have this job now, and whatever money you earn now is going to go towards that, and whatever you have left might go towards something else.
Perfect, because I live in a very expensive lifestyle. Dude, I need to get 1,300 a month just for food and housing.
I mean, you're going to be getting quite a bit of money from each day of work, and that's going to be based on how much hazard pay you go through. So
Good.
I'm going to be pretty lenient on the eds at some point here. But this early on, I'm going to be sticking to the game.
Oh,
I'm
grafted
gonna-
muscle and bone lace sounds great.
I'm probably gonna sleep on it for a second and then think on it and come back to the character sheet and be like, what was I thinking? Especially with these stats. It's like, I'm trying to do like two things at once.
I mean, that's kind of the thing. It's doing two things at once and then finding out that you're too spread out. I mean, you eventually get the gist of it. We haven't played just yet, so we got plenty of time for it, a whole week.
Yeah. Building characters is always a little rough on me.
Oh
Like I
yeah.
said, I've never had a good tabletop experience with games like this, so I'm hoping this will be the difference. 'Cause
Well, I'm
I've had
hoping.
disastrous D&D experiences.
I'm hoping I'm hoping that most of this comes down to just like a social thing, because I think we're all should be fine socially wise.
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
not gonna
basically,
be
what's happened is that I've always made characters for D&D, and then I got groups that were just utter clusterfucks.
Ooh.
Oh god, I kind of want to get a cyber arm with a grapple hand. That sounds amazing.
So
Yeah.
you want to be a gotcha machine? Is what you want to be.
Oh, you can just get a med scanner installed into your arm. Oh, but you
You
need a
can't.
cyber arm.
You can do that, yeah. You can have a bulletproof shield that's in your arm.
Comes installed with a standard hand that doesn't cause humanity loss or takes up an optional slot. Oh, okay. So if I get a cyber arm with only 3 slots, it costs me only... It doesn't take humanity.
Yeah, that's right.
That's kind of neat. Oh, carboglass arms. Yep.
Don't forget you got food. I called it food for some reason. Foot stuff as well, like
Also,
grips.
would you believe that the technician never came back to fix the internet? Aren't you glad that I fixed it myself?
Yeah. That person needs to be fired.
Holy shit.
Some of the stuff that I want is expensive. Dang.
I'm so glad that I decided to call the manufacturer of this equipment themselves, because I was just like, wait a sec.
I could have 4 arms? She.
Shit.
This is true. Not all of these options you actually need a cyber arm as well. So, for example, like the tool hand, you can just have that installed over your hand as like a tech kind of thing,
Yeah.
or a gear replacement. Kind of like what's it? Like Vic's hand in 2077.
Yeah. They're just called Wolvers.
Yeah, no, right?
Pop-up grenade launcher. Ew. That's gross. A subdermal
What?
pocket.
Yeah.
With the real skin, trademarked zipper. Ugh.
Execs get that automatically.
Ugh.
Okay, YouTube, I do not need to hear more about politics right now. This is exactly what I don't need in my life.
Yeah, they're just not shutting up about it. I don't know why.
Holy shit. I know why they're not. I don't need it different. Like, we're
Well, the
fucked,
thing
I
is,
know.
they're not gonna do anything. Nothing's gonna happen. So
Yeah, they're
it's
like,
just
they're gonna impeach him. I'm like, of course they're not going to. They're not. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing ever happens, ever. I am a brown person in America. I know that nothing is going to happen.
yeah.
Don't try to tell me otherwise.
You would think like 100 years of this shit, they would figure it out, but no.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm sorry. Stephen Colbert, bless his heart, keeps trying to be like, let's hope that America does something. But he's mad right now, which I love it. Love. I love that he's mad and he's yelling at people. Like, he literally ripped people some new asshole recently. Like, I love you, but nothing's going to change, sweetheart.
I mean,
Bless your little Christian soul. But
his little Catholic soul, yeah.
oh, yeah, he is.
He's
Catholic.
got one of his own kind in there now.
Oh my goodness, I loved him so much because he had oh, shit. What's her fucking name? That bitch.
You got to be more specific.
That bitch. Oh, oh, find her. Cause I can't stand this bitch. Oh,
Was it recent or was it during the
it was
Colbert Report?
recent. I can't stand this bitch, and her name's gonna come right to me, but I'm gonna find her in a second.
Politics or celebrity?
Politics. She's terrible. Little round face bitch.
God, that could be so many people.
It is. She's from Minnesota.
Is that blonde bitch who fucking lies all the time and just makes shit up?
I mean, she's
constantly?
in politics. They all lie.
Yeah, I know, but there's a very specific girl who does that, and I can't remember what the hell her name is.
I try to like not remember them. So I was just talking to my friend about her. So Amy Klobuchar.
There you go.
He went he went so hard into her that it was brilliant, and I was like,
That was pretty great. Yeah.
I was so happy. I was so happy.
I mean, she's
He did not let out.
I mean, she's basically Republican. That's all she is.
And like she did not answer his question.
Of course
and
not.
He just kept going and going and going, and he was so mad, and I was like, bless your little heart, but like you're not gonna get what you want.
Anyway, sorry about alienating there with that talk there.
Well, that's fine.
Sorry, but yeah, I'm sorry. I just YouTube opened because it was in another tab, and it's just like stop trying to make me. Stop trying to make me hope, YouTube, because that's just not a thing that's gonna happen.
Hope is for the weak.
It really is. My bestie keeps trying to do that too, because she's an optimistic type, and she keeps saying I should stop doing that. And I'm like, oh yeah, you really should.
So I just roll for humanity or take the average of how much I lose?
That's right.
Two. Same
Nice.
average. The same. Alright. I mean, I guess I don't need this mask anymore. If I'm immune to all toxins anyways.
Yeah, just refund the mask if you got the anti-smog mask.
Yeah, that's literally what just happened.
I'm just thinking back to my landlady now being, how did you get your hair like? It's getting late. My brain's just kind of frying itself.
Yeah, I mean, it is getting late. Here's the only suggestion I would make. Get the basics down that you do absolutely need, that you can't live without, and then work out from there.
Yeah.
So you got your cybernetics you need to interface, you got your gear that you need to interface, and then you got maybe like a couple programs and a black ice, probably like a imp or like an asp or hellhound, something like that. Or if you want to make something up that's something else, just talk to me about it.
Yeah.
and then look at getting yourself a gun or, in your case, a bow or crossbow or something like that, and then armor, probably really cheap stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, 3 option slots.
Once you have the basics down or taken care of, at the very least, then you can definitely look at more expensive stuff or things you want to work towards.
Yeah. This seems pretty chill. So it already seems better than my last few tabletop experience.
Well, it is a little bit more math heavy, but who knows? Either way, the math should be taken care of most for us because it's just pressing buttons in this Roll20 environment.
Yeah, expect me to fuck up a lot of math. So just it's fine.
No, it's fine.
Well,
I have
rage,
literally a
it's fine.
disability in math, so don't worry about it.
As long as you don't rage, it's fine. We're good. Like expect some math fuck ups. As long as we get some calculators out, we good.
Yeah, I mean 90% of DMing is fudging numbers anyway, so.
Yeah.
Shh.
I did have
Don't let them
one
know.
tabletop experience where we had like, I shit you not, we had a 16-hour battle sequence. It was the worst.
What the?
I wanted to die. Yeah.
Yeah, I've
This
had
dude
games like
decided
that.
he wanted to have an epic battle, which just included a 16 fucking hour battle against goblins. I shit you. Once we killed goblins, more goblins came out. I was like, can we just stop fighting goblins? Just stop. This is fun.
That sounds like an awful time.
It was. It was.
That seems like the kind of thing you maybe have 2 waves and that's it.
Seriously, I was like, oh, cool. And it's like, damn goblins.
Okay, let me ask you this: how many was it at a time? Was it 6 or 9?
It's like, it's so many goblins. So many goblins. So fucking many goblins. And like, we almost died like 6 times.
Oh fuck!
And I was a hunter, and my pet definitely died in one of these waves. I don't remember which wave, but one of these waves, my pet died, and I was pissed. I was legit pissed.
Alright. I have 270 EV left.
All right, so you can either find stuff that you may want to spend that on, or save it for a rainy day.
Not sure. Well, the problem is that I wanted to get the hydraulic legs, but they're too expensive.
Hydraulics are pretty sweet. I will give you that. Yeah.
Jump boosters everywhere.
I'm just like, how do you save money in this game? Like, how?
You don't.
I didn't need required items.
The focusing on required items is going to be the big thing, especially this early on.
Yeah.
But in terms of like how the universe works, most people just spend all that they have. They basically go through the poverty cycle where they get money, they spend all their money on either stuff that they need immediately or on stuff that makes them not want to kill themselves that week. And that's the extent of their entire life for the rest of their life.
We'll see if I don't suddenly turn myself into a tech by tomorrow.
Yeah. If you do decide that you don't want to do net running, then that's perfectly fine. Just let me know ahead of time, and I'll help you do it.
Yeah.
Well, from the sounds of it, June, you probably want to head off. Are you okay there, Vera?
Yeah, so I bought a tech scanner that gives me +2 to first aid and paramedic. Do I just increase those by 2 now?
I would, yeah. It's probably just easier to, because any kind of equipment that you're probably just gonna bring out immediately for whatever job you have. So
Yeah. Well, it's also I have it attached to my arm.
yeah, technically it's supposed to be like a temporary thing, but if it's attached to your arm, yeah, there's no point in just being around the bush.
Alright. Yeah, I think I'm gonna save this extra just in case. just in case I need more glasses. I still have. Yeah, I'm gonna also head off here soon because I am tired and I did not. My dinner has been sitting here and I forgot to eat.
Oh yeah, don't you get your food, dude.
Yeah, I've been eating too much pizza. Like it's bad.
Yeah, that's so fine.
270.
Okay, the pizza was good. I've just been eating too much of it.
Yeah.
I approve of the pizza. I don't approve of how much of it I've been eating. I can.
Cheese is fine by itself.
Hmm?
I like
So
pizza.
cheese is fine by itself. What?
I